time for Big D Energy with four-time Stanley Cup champ Darren McCarty, former Lion Joik Bell, and the golden voice of Neil Rule. Live on the Woodward Sports Network, 99.1 and 93.5 The Roar, the Woodward Sports app, and anywhere you listen to podcasts. Let's talk some sports. It's Big D Energy.
Good morning, Detroit. Welcome to Big D Energy. Big D. I'm your host, Nick Leach, filling in for the Neil Rule. To my left, no Easy, no Darren McCarty,
no
we
Joik,
got Stick,
no
Joy.
But we're running through them, man.
We're going through them. Everybody's out and either sick or
on vacation.
Prior engagements. We're doing it, though. We're making it happen. Got my boy Stick to my left. Stick, welcome to Big D Energy. Happy to have you. We got Sawyer in the production booth. We've got Sam on the hot buttons over there. We're gonna have a good show today.
Always, man. This is our first show working together too. This week I got to work with Ryan Armani for the first time. Now we get to do our first show together. So let's get into it.
The Nick and Stick show.
There we go. The big Nick energy.
Yeah. No, but we got a great show for everybody today. We're gonna talk some football. We're gonna talk Lions. We're gonna talk NFL playoffs we got going on. We got to talk about the miserable Red Wings game that went on last night. And then we got Sawyer's Motorsport Minute, or I guess we're going to do a whole segment today on it. But Sawyer kills it, so we're going to do that. I like racing as well. Stick likes the left turns, maybe?
I love left turns. It's my favorite thing to do.
Yeah.
You know that UPS drivers only make, I believe, left or right turns. They don't make both in their routes, and that's how they design their entire routes, and it actually saves you gas if you do it that way.
Like, you mean like they just go in like a square?
They'll only turn right. They'll never turn left. It's wild.
That's like one of the craziest things I think I've ever heard.
I know more useless facts than anybody on the planet, so if you guys ever need me for trivia, I'm down. But yeah, when I found that out, I thought it was crazy, but then I did my research on it, and actually it helps them save money.
I like the fact that you actually went out and researched it. That's the best part about it.
When I'm interested in something, I dive all in, man. But big news this morning I woke up to when we were texting each other early this morning. Pine Knob is back, baby!
Pine Knob is back. And I honestly remember it mostly as DTE Energy.
Yep.
But my parents, for the longest time, have always called it Pine Knob.
I'm always going to call it Pine Knob. That's what I grew up going to, and it's one of those things. It's like Kobo is always going to be Kobo now that it's TCF or whatever the hell they changed it to after TCF because that bank just merged and they already changed the name. That's always going to be Kobo, and this is always going to be Pine Knob, and it's awesome for the old heads like me and the young guys like you that actually get to experience it as Pine Knob now, not DTE.
Well, I still always called it that as well too because I snowboard there, or I used to snowboard there during the winter time. So for me, I always had that name. It's actually crazy to see the response it's gotten on like social media.
Yeah, well, Detroit loves nostalgia, right? And whenever you can bring back good memories and you can bring back things that just get your brain going and make you feel good. We do it all the time on our social media with our sports teams, like whenever we post up an old Bad Boys clip or we post up something with Isaiah Thomas or the Red Wings back in the day, the grind line, people go absolutely insane for it. So it's just that little piece of nostalgia. Too bad Eddie Money is no longer with us to open Pine Knob like he did for 97 years of his life. But it's not going to change much there, but it's cool. I'm glad it's back.
Well, you come from the music industry as well too. So for you, that's I wouldn't say it's like Christmas morning, but it brings back, like you said, the nostalgia of it.
Yep. So Pine Knob is back. So for all you old heads, welcome. For all you new ones, welcome to the party.
Well, we got Adam in the YouTube chat. So if you're in the YouTube chat, make sure you hit that like button for us, and then definitely come on over if you're listening to this anywhere else. We're always following this YouTube chat along. Adam says, "What the F is Pine Knob?"
It's a music venue. That's what it is. And there used to be a ski resort out there too. So it was a music venue and ski place, and it was called Pine Knob. And now it's back. They just renamed it back to that. So it'd be like if they flipped LCA and called it Joe Louis. Like that. That's just kind of what happened. Even though that's not Joe Louis. Joe Louis is gone. But
yeah, I'd be kind of for that name. Little Caesars Arena doesn't really have the best name. Something about Joe Louis Arena just has a great name for the Red Wings.
Joe Louis in Detroit, the fist. It's more of our culture. And not saying that Little Caesars is not part of our culture, because obviously, if it wasn't for Little Caesars, the Illiches wouldn't have bought all the teams and pretty much bought up all of downtown Detroit. So Little Caesars is definitely a major part of our legacy, but it's not, Joe Louis.
Right. Do you remember your first concert there?
I don't, to be honest with you. My first concert I ever went to was Michael Jackson, but that was at the Palace.
Yeah, so my first concert was at the Palace too. Mine was Blake Shelton, actually.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, and then Luke Bryan, actually. So I didn't actually go to my first concert until I was like 17 or 18 years old. So I still all remember. Like, I don't know. Isn't that kind of weird?
Yeah, that is weird. My first ones were, like I said, Michael Jackson when I was like 8, and then New Kids on the Block. Those were my first 2 concerts.
Yeah, I started like thinking back. I was like, it's kind of odd that I've never been to a concert. Like, and then sure enough, every time I go to one though, it's especially at Pine Knob, it's one of the best experiences of all time.
Yeah, live music is the best. Love live music and live sports. So yeah, happy that Pine Knob is back. Sawyer, have you ever been to Pine Knob?
I've not. I've had family members go there for like a Keith Urban concert, but I've had friends go ski there too, but haven't made it out there yet.
Jake is saying his first Pine Knob experience was Ozfest. And I don't know if you've ever been to an Ozfest, but there's some great people watching at Ozfest.
What? I don't even know what Ozfest is.
Ozzy Osbourne.
Oh, okay. I like Ozzy.
Yeah, that's crazy. I saw Dave Chappelle out there, but that was when it was DTE. One memory I do have, though, is Jam Master Jay from Run DMC. I got to interview him like 2 days before he got shot in New York, and I think I was his last live radio interview because Run DMC was with Aerosmith at Pine Knob /DTE. So, like, that's one memory I have of that place. But it's totally changed now. I love going out there. They have a weed spot now. Like it's sponsored by like a dispensary. So, you walk into Pine Knob, you could already smell it anyways. Now they got a little section for you.
Are you a lawn guy or are you a seat guy though?
It depends on how drunk I am. Like I love to roam the lawn when I've had a couple of those huge beers in me. And, but yeah, you hate when it's rainy and it's nasty out there.
See,
then I'm a seat guy.
So I've experienced my first concert there, the Luke Bryan concert. It started pouring down rain there, and I was intoxicated with a lot of gypsy vodka.
Attaboy.
I was drinking it responsibly though, but. I had a lot of that, and I like to dance and stuff when I get drinking. So for me, like being out in the rain and the lawn, like I was having the best time. And then back in the day, I'm 28 now, but if I was like 21, 22, like it gets pretty slippery out there. So you can turn that thing into a little bit of a mudslide.
Yeah, I've been out there for some Dave Matthews concerts with a bunch of people on whatever they're on, and it's been a fun experience just watching people slide down the hill. And then there's always that one guy that tries to climb back up it and just he's not capable, but he does it for like 20 minutes and just keeps sliding back down.
Yeah, and then you get, honestly, you get the girls out there too. They'll jump right in and do the mudslide with you.
Good times, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely good times. I can't wait to go to some concerts. I'm glad concerts are back, man. I was having a conversation last night with a girl. I went to Oak City Grill in Royal Oak, and they had a live musician playing last night. And honestly, it had been so long since I'd seen live music, and I love live music. And even though it was just one guy doing covers, it was great. It was great last night.
Yeah, that's Nashville is one of my favorite cities outside of Detroit to go and visit. Like I'm not a gambler or anything, so I don't think I'd enjoy like Las Vegas, and I feel like you get one or two. Like you either really like Las Vegas or you really like Nashville. But some people can like both.
Listen,
but I'm a Nashville guy through and through.
I always tell people about Vegas. If you don't like Vegas, there's something wrong with you. Because there's everything in Vegas. Whatever you want to get into, you can find it in Vegas. And I've never been to Nashville, so I can't compare the two.
Oh.
But if you can't have a good time in Vegas, that's a you problem. Like, that is totally a you problem.
Well, in fairness, too, I haven't been to Nashville yet, to Las Vegas yet. So
what are we doing, Leach?
But I'm just assuming that I'm going to like Nashville way more. The Nashville, too, like, the amount of bachelorette parties that go around in Nashville, insane. It's literally insane. I don't know if you'll quite get that in Vegas, but that is also another great part about Nashville.
Yeah, I'd like to go. Live music up and down the street. I like girls in jeans and, the Daisy Dukes that they put on, and I like big drinks and loud music, so Nashville seems like it's right up my alley. I saw somebody in the chat said they were at the, 93.1 DRQ was a radio station I used to work for way back in the day, and we used to throw concerts at Pine Knob, and, like Jay-Z and one of my favorite memories, P. Diddy comes out and sings Nickelback. Like, it was the weirdest beginning to any concert, but it was great. So anybody who was at the old DRQ concert, shout out to you.
Well, and I don't know, and obviously, like I said, I haven't been to any concerts outside of Detroit, but I feel like when musicians come here, obviously with the rich history here in Motown, they always do something special. I feel like you always get like another artist that wasn't supposed to be on the list that shows up.
Yeah, this is the music city, man. We're the birthplace of techno. We got Eminem and hip hop. We got that on lock. You know, the White Stripes. You know, we're Detroit Rock City. Like, we cover everything. The live music in Detroit is special.
I was asking, I think I was talking to Easy about this a couple weeks ago. Have you seen the Motown documentary that they did here in Detroit that Barry Gordy actually produced and everything like that? You have seen that?
Yep. I'm a huge Motown freak.
Yeah, I am. After that, I became like even more like, I've been listening to Motown music for like maybe a month straight now. But the history that goes into that place and the amount of people that came out of there, like you had Michael Jackson there at the same time, you had Marvin Gaye, you had Diana Ross, the Supremes, like it is insane. It is literally insane the amount of talent that came through this place.
Yeah, if you've never been to the museum on West Grand, right there, just when you walk in, you feel that history and you feel the soul of the city. What's up, Sawyer?
Yeah, aren't they expanding the museum too? Because it was like a little house, but now they're building like a big complex behind it.
Yeah,
I believe.
So
right?
they just got a huge grant to do that down there, and I think a couple $1 million, and they're totally redoing that entire section of Detroit. Really,
that's gonna be awesome.
You know, in that area, a new center. They just built the where the Crews play. They just built that new arena, and then you got the Edison Village right there, which is great. That little district, and I just really love that part of town too.
So I actually, again, being honest here, I have not been to that museum yet.
Damn it, Nick! Get some culture.
But I know all about it, and I actually was talking to my mom about this because she loves the Motown music just as much, and that's definitely one of my plans here in the real near future is to get down there and check that out because, like I said, I love music through and through, especially the Motown music. I saw a few people in the YouTube chat saying, "Oh, Nick's a country guy." I am literally an all music type of guy. I will listen to rap. I'll listen to classic rock. I'll listen to Motown. I will listen to any kind of music.
Yeah, I love music. That's where this conversation started. Just any live music, from Eddie Money to Eminem to Destiny's Child. Like I saw people dropping that. So, yeah, Pine Knob is back. We're happy to announce it. And Nick, it's the beginning of the new year, and you're getting in the gym, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm getting nice and fit there, Stick. So I'm going right over to Planet Fitness. That's the best place to be. $10 a month. That's all it's going to cost you. Zero down right now, $10 a month. You can sign up in one of their clubs, various stores or places, gyms all across the country. And then you could also do it online. You go to planetfitness.com, sign up, get a membership. You can even get a black card. If I got a black card. I might take Stick. Stick's got to get in shape a little bit.
Please help me.
Yeah, he's getting too skinny over there. So we're gonna get some meat on those bones, and we're gonna head over to Planet Fitness. You can also go tanning too. Get us ready for the summertime. They got the tanning beds, but you got to get the black card in order to do that. So head over to Planet Fitness. Your fitness is essential. We'll be right back.
Life is full of hard choices. We're here to make one of life's biggest decisions as simple as possible. My name is Christina Gennari, and for over 20 years, I've helped hundreds of families buy and sell homes. We cover all of Metro Detroit and more, from large luxury homes to starter homes. We will work hard to make sure that you get the home of your dreams. So if you're in the market today or even thinking about buying or selling in the future, make the obvious choice. Christina Gennari, the obvious choice in real estate. Visit us at soldchristina.com today.
Your Detroit alternative to the normal sports blah, blah, blah. It's Woodward Sports.
And we are back here on Big D Energy. I am Nick Leach, filling in for Neil Rule. To my left, we got Stick, filling in for Easy, filling in for four-time Stanley Cup champion Darren McCarty.
That's a lot of weight to fill in for, man. Yeah. I don't know if I can fill in for those two fellas.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so far so good.
Yeah, we made it. We made it through the first segment. Thank goodness.
We're not messing this up. We got Sam in the sound booth. We got Sawyer in the TD booth. Stick, obviously, we weren't really talking about sports. We are a sports network.
Yeah, but we're a Detroit sports network, and when Pine Knob reopens, we got to talk about Pine Knob.
I 100% agree with you, brother. So let's get into some of that sports talk now. So, Lions off season's coming is here now. We've done a lot of talk about Dan Campbell and what he did this year, but I kind of want to shift the talks to Brad Holmes and what your expectations of him this offseason are. I say he pretty much has an A+ in this last draft. I mean, everybody contributed throughout the season. For you, what are you looking for out of him this offseason, to fill some of these biggest needs for the Lions?
Well, first of all, in Brad Holmes, I trust. Like, we should put that on the new dollar for Detroit. Like, it should be minted on coins. We all should feel very comfortable knowing that that man is steering the ship. He gained that trust this entire season with us. Obviously, you had to wait and see how his picks were going to play out, and now we're sitting where we are, and pretty damn good. I know you and Easy had a conversation yesterday about, was this the best draft of the last 20 years? Easy brought up the 2013 draft, which was very strong. After that 2013 draft, the Lions went on a little bit of a run, made it to the playoffs a couple times. So you hope that the same results are going to happen spawning from this draft, and that's all because of Brad Holmes doing his due diligence. And Scott Bischoff, our NFL draft expert, yesterday he came in here, we were talking, just going over what the offseason's going to look like. And since the Lions are coaching the Senior Bowl, Brad Holmes has a history of pulling good players from the Senior Bowl. That's why he got Cooper Kupp. He got put on his radar at the Senior Bowl. Van Jefferson, another guy that's out in L.A. right now that Brad Holmes drafted, was at the Senior Bowl, and that's where he really stood out, and he's become a viable pro. So expect these guys to maybe fall in love with a couple of these guys at the Senior Bowl, and that's good with me because they're up close, they're personal. I don't know if you saw who we're coaching quarterback-wise, but Malik Willis and Sam Howell are the two that are being coached by Dan Campbell. So we're going to get an exclusive look at those guys. So I trust Brad. I think we just hand him assets and stand the hell back and let the man go to work. And obviously next year we'll find out if this year's draft picks paid off.
Yeah, 100% agree with you. And another name that's a part of that too is Bailey Zappi from Western Kentucky. And I actually put that graphic up on social media this morning. Sawyer on the screen's got but we have an outstanding culture here, so hopefully that bodes well for us in free agency. That's Lions GM Brad Holmes talking about free agents.
And that's
huge.
Offseason.
Yeah, 100%.
When has Detroit ever been a free agent destination? Like, when have anybody looked around the league and be like, man, I want to go play in Detroit? Never. But you see the way Dan Campbell coaches. You see the way the players respond. And me and Neil Rule went back and forth on winning that last game, right? But to me, that momentum, it may not carry over into next season, but it definitely carries over into free agency. It definitely carries over into when your players are out hanging with their boys that are already in the league. Like, yo, man, Detroit was a lot of fun. Did you see all the trick plays we were running? We were loose. Yes, we didn't win a lot of games, but you want to be a part of this. And I don't think we've ever had that here.
Well, and that's kind of like something I talked about, with the Red Wings yesterday and bringing Nick Lidstrom in, is having a player like running that front office. And now here in Detroit, you got all the coaches who were former players. And if you're a person, like, honestly, like who are you going to listen to more? Somebody, that was kind of just a football nerd, or are you going to listen to a guy that actually played the game?
Yeah, see, I go back and forth with that, because, like, obviously if you've played the game, you have in-depth knowledge.
Right.
But also, the nerds know stuff, too.
Right, no.
Bill Belichick wasn't an all-star player by any stretch of the imagination, but he's a pretty good coach.
I'd say he's okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I love Dan Campbell and what he did and what he brought this year to the team. And, somebody asked in the chat for us to talk about Megatron rejoining. And I wonder how much of that is the influence of Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell. If this was still the Matt Patricia era where the locker room's unhappy, people don't want to be there, he's trashing players, calling them names that you shouldn't call anybody, driving good players like Slay and Diggs out of town. You think Megatron would be back in the tunnel like he was this week? I don't think so.
Yeah, and Dave Burkett was actually on the Bottom Line earlier this week, and he put out an article about what this means and said, don't really read too much into it. It's not that big of a deal. It's it's just something business-wise. That's kind of what they were leaving it at. I was like, yeah, and he said like there's been times over this year where he's been back 2 or 3 times in the building, but he hasn't put up pictures on his social media like he did. So like that's a big difference for me. I was like, okay, there's something more to this.
It was a statement. It was. It really, it's, hey, I'm comfortable with these guys again. And, with all the turmoil we went through, pretty much through the season, of pay that man his money, like billionaires fighting with millionaires over $1 million for people like me, it's annoying as hell. Like, okay, you billionaires can't give this guy $1 million. Like, how's that really going to affect anything in the scheme of anything? It's not going to make Megatron's life any better. It's not going to make the Ford's life any worse. So just solve this issue. It's money. You guys got it. Just solve the issue. But yeah, I love the fact that he decided to come back and, to circle it back to the original topic of Brad Holmes. I think his stamp on this team and his stamp on this franchise is a big part of that reason. And I think Megatron understands that too. Like, he saw who Brad Holmes drafted this year. He saw how the team played. He saw the energy on the sideline, and he wants to be a part of it, which speaks volumes.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to put it like into words, right? Obviously, we're sitting on the show talking about it, but it's part of that culture. Like, bringing Calvin back, and like one of the, I think, arguably the greatest receiver of all time.
Oh yeah.
To have him, be involved in this Lions organization, he can help the defensive backs. Like, that's an area of concern that you can help. You got a lot of young guys there. He can teach them better schemes of what they can do on the opposing side to some of these great receivers that we've had to play against, like Jamar Chase or Devontae Adams, who's been in this division a long time. So I look at that as like that knowledge for the team, like that's going to go so much farther as well.
Yeah, it just can't hurt to have a Hall of Famer on the sideline. Just period, you know? And it can't hurt for fans when they see Megatron walk in. Like, we get to celebrate as a family, and that's me being a Homer fan, but it's the truth. When he got inducted in the Hall of Fame, you hated that he went in there and he really didn't even say Lions in his speech. Like, that hurts. That's awful. You want him to love this place because of how much love the fans had for him. Obviously, we're not behind the curtain. We don't really see what went down day to day and how they treated him and the money and all that good stuff. But at the end of the day, when you think Lions football, you think Megatron.
Yeah, I think the two biggest names, right? Barry Sanders and Calvin Johnson.
That's it.
And you want them part of your organization for as long as possible, as long as that may be. And it's for me, it's just is that like that shows you what direction this organization is going in. They let Stafford go. You bring in Calvin back. Like, you're right. You're essentially righting all of your wrongs from history. Obviously, like
that's a lot of wrongs to right.
It is, but at the end of the day, like, you were eventually going to have to do it. I don't know. You can't just keep operating the way that you were. It's a bad look. You don't want to go. You look what's going on with the Washington football team right now of just like a piss poor organization. Like, you don't want that here.
That's because Dan Snyder is the biggest idiot ever. Like, Dan Snyder is such a POS. He's getting other coaches fired from emails that they're finding with Dan Snyder on them. Like, that's what happened to John Gruden. That wasn't a witch hunt to get John Gruden.
Right.
They were out to get Washington, and they found stuff on John Gruden and fired him, but Dan Snyder still has a job. Like when he was accused of sexually harassing his cheerleaders and taking them on flights and forcing them to like go with the big clients and big season ticket holders and stuff like that. So what does he do? He doesn't stop his actions. He puts men on the cheerleading team thinking that will solve him from being a sexual predator. It's like, no. Just stop. Yeah. It's like the Papa John's guy. Remember him? He said he had to stop. He had to train himself not to use the N-word.
Yeah.
It's not that hard. You just don't do it.
Yeah.
It's really not hard. You don't abuse women. You don't say the N-word. Like, there's very few rules to being a decent human being. Those are two of the big ones.
That's what my parents instilled that me growing up. It's like there's a difference between right and wrong.
Right.
Like, it's either wrong or it's right. Like, there's no in between there. So they're getting this right, and I'll be interested, again, they're only saying it's just business right now, but I bet you there'll be some type of press release in the future saying, they did it, they righted it. And I'll be interested, was Brad Holmes, was Campbell, was Holmes, were they kind of pressing on Sheila, to make this happen and get this right?
Yeah, when Dave Burkett was on the other day with us, too, I asked him about Chris Spielman, because Chris Spielman's name, when he first got hired, everybody was talking about Spielman, how he's going to affect the culture and all that. Then he kind of faded to the back. We didn't hear much about Chris Spielman throughout the season, but you got to feel that he had some input on this, too, and that's part of it. And the plan that these guys have in place, and they're sticking to it. That's what Brad Holmes said earlier this week when he was asked about it.
Yeah, I talked with that yesterday with Easy. I was like, bringing in guys that if they're going to perform, it's what they said, like, no turds allowed. Like, that's what Campbell said in one of his
It reminds me of Joe Dumars. Joe Dumars used to have the no knuckleheads. That was his thing. We don't want knuckleheads on this team. And I love it. And we've never had a culture for the Lions, right? We've always tried to do it the Patriot way. When we brought in Mooch, we tried to switch to the West Coast offense, so we were trying to do it the 49ers way. Now we're doing it the Detroit way, the Dan Campbell way, because there's only one Dan Campbell, and he's not trying to copy anybody.
No, he's so authentic, and that's what makes the city of Detroit fall in love with him. And you know what's more authentic than Detroit? Like we just talked about with Motown, you know, being the first of a lot of things. We don't copy things here in Detroit. We invent things. Like we invent the car,
right?
Automotive, Henry Ford, the assembly line. Like that's all things we do. And
folding.
That's
what Chris Hutt said. You know, he's like, listen, when we go down to the Indianapolis 500, that's how folding got started. I won't go into the long backstory on it, but he was like, we're Detroiters. We make things. That's how this got going. And it's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I even look at this network. Like what we started the first digital network here in Detroit.
Yeah,
like that's another step in that direction. So, and like you said, Dan Campbell, like what he's done, you know, with all of the trick plays this year, going for it on fourth down, like I'm not like, if that's kind of a little bit of our identity, I'm not necessarily opposed to it as long as it works in our favor.
What I like about that is, even if that isn't a part of our identity going forward, it's got to be in the back of the mind of every opponent we play next year, period. Right. Like, and even if we go completely away, even if he starts going by the textbook on fourth down and not doing trick plays, the fact that we ran so many, people have to prepare for it, so they're wasting their valuable practice time on something that may never happen, which it's like a Jedi mind trick that he did this year. Like, all right, we're going all out. Next year, he may come out and be conservative and play the game the right way, but everybody's got to prepare because they know Dan Campbell may pull that out of his bag at any time.
Yeah, as long as you got Aaron Glenn here with that defense too, like they're a little bit more risky because that, you know, we've seen with undermanned defense, I would say, like they were able to hold some of those guys in our own territory to maybe just a field goal or even a short punt. So I love the culture that's here now. Obviously, you're a homer, I'm a homer.
That's all right.
But I'm, like I said, it's the talk around the league, you know, talk with the guys on NFL on Fox. It's nationwide, you know, all the positive things. Like we watched a lot of bad things get said about Dan Campbell, like, oh, like this coach got, and then everyone was singing his praises by the end of the year.
It was interesting to watch the national media change their tone. Mm-hmm. You know, Colin Cowherd and the chick that sits with him, like, I forget her name, but
Joy Taylor.
There you go, Joy Taylor. You know, she's talking about when he put the helmet on, how it's not professional, and you know, other people are coming at him for the antics off the field. And they did that before they even got to see what the man could do on the field. Yeah. And you get that leeway when you're a winner. And granted, 3 wins in a season doesn't make you a winner, but you can see where this ship is going. Like Dan Campbell said, we're in the Arctic now. We're going to the Caribbean. And you can see that we're on the way to the Caribbean, and people are going to want to jump on this party. And as a Lions fan, it's crazy because we get beat up constantly. Take the Thursday or take the Thanksgiving Day game away from them and all that bull crap that we got to deal with all year. But now the national pundits are like, I can actually watch this team.
Yeah, they're the most fun 3-win football team of all time.
All time.
So obviously, if you want to win games, you got to at least look like a winner. So come in here to Lady Jane's. There's over 100 locations nationwide. So they're open 10 to 8 every single day. You can walk in, sign in, make sure you sign. If you don't sign in, you're not getting your hair cut.
Just sitting out there like, why aren't they calling me back?
Well, I mean, I've actually, full disclosure, I've done that before. I've walked into Lady Jane's and I just sat down and started watching SportsCenter before, and then I was like, wait, no one's calling me in like 45 minutes. I never signed in. So make sure you come in, sign in, select your hairstylist, or you can do random too. Trust them with your hair, make them look good. You'll be a winner. So walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Follow us everywhere. Just search Woodward Sports on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, IG, and more.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
We're going to get guys that we love. And, you know, so you talk about first round Panay. Yes, he is what we thought he was going to be. And Panay is only going to get better. I mean, for what he was able to do being a left tackle in college and opting out and he's coming in as a right tackle, and then Decker goes on, he goes to left, and Decker comes back and he goes back to right. And Mike, he's the youngest. I mean, him and Kyle Pitts were the youngest guys in the draft. So he's only going to get better. But then when you go down to the 4th round, he's still, with St. Brown, he's still in that mold of he was who we thought he was going to be. It's the same thing. Like you can say, well, he's a 4th round pick. You're not expecting, but Amon-Ra, and I said it to you guys earlier after we drafted him, he reminded me of some of the guys that we had when I was back in LA, and I believe that he showed that in his own way. He's a culture fit for what we're all about. But again, I think everything just kind of clicked for him kind of late. But we always knew he had the intangibles and work ethic, and he's just a pro's pro in the way that he's wired, that equated to a lot of his success on top of his physical ability.
We are back here on Big D Energy. I am Nick Leach, filling in for Neil Rule. To my left, I got my boy Stick, filling in for 4-time Stanley Cup champion Darren McCarty. Stick, obviously, we just sat there. We listened to Brad Holmes talk about Amon-Ra St. Brown and his emergence this season. I mean, again, you can't say enough great things about what he did down the stretch for the Lions.
And you can't say enough about Brad Holmes. Like, he's got to be very proud of that pick. Like, you got to have that, like, the childish grin almost, because he made him look smart. Mm-hmm. And what do you want when you draft a guy in the 4th round? You want him to make you look smart. And to me, I always go back to the moment, if you go back and watch our draft party that we had down at the Del Mar in Greektown, and there was a moment when Brad Holmes, we drafted Penei Sewell, and people were in the war room saying, we need a wide receiver, we need a wide receiver. And I remember him specifically saying, like, we can still get our guy. And his guy was Amon-Ra St. Brown. Yeah. And he knew that he would be available later on. And to me, it's one thing to pick the right guy, because if he drafted Amon-Ra St. Brown in the 2nd round, I think we'd all still be happy, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. We still think it was a great value pick. But the fact of the matter is, he was smart enough not to spend that 2nd round capital on him and knew he would be there in the 4th. And that's why Brad Holmes is so valuable, because he's not overspending.
Well, and that's what, Brad Holmes was, as advertised. We were told he kind of was a draft expert, the draft guru. You saw it there in L.A., and he's already done it here year 1 in Detroit. And, that's why I think a lot of us are so happy. It's like, in Brad Holmes, you trust. Like, we're so happy. We're so comfortable for the first time in forever, because what we were told he is what he's already shown to be.
Yep. And, you saw videos of him coming out of college, like the video of him throwing those downfield blocking. That's what I was really excited for about him. You knew he was a physical guy, even though he's a little undersized, but he's perfect for the slot. But he's just physical, and he's good. And if you listen to Joik, when Joik was talking about any big run that he ever had came off of wide receivers blocking downfield. Mm-hmm. So not only is he benefiting us as an outlet for Jared Goff, they had a nice coordination by the end of the season, but he's also going to help us in the run game. And it's just nice to have swag, man. The kid's got swag. Like, it's something we can be proud of too and feel good about. But yeah, Amon-Ra St. Brown, they're giving out all the NFL awards right now for Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, Offensive Rookie, Defensive Rookie. I'm not saying he should be the Offensive Rookie of the Year, but I could make the argument for it. He just won the Week 18 Rookie of the Week, and he did that a couple times throughout the season as well. He is second only to Jalen Waddle in receptions for a rookie. He even had more receptions than Jamar Chase. He's about 500 yards below Jamar Chase when it comes to receiving yards, but he still almost had 1,000, which is good. And when you look at his rushing statistics, he's like the second leading rusher for wide receivers this year, rookie wide receivers. So he contributed everywhere. And then you take him off the team, what the hell would the Lions have done this season? So you can add that MVP value to him as well. Like I said, he's not the Offensive Rookie of the Year. It's clearly Jamar Chase, right? Clearly, by far and away. But the fact that I can even make the argument is awesome.
Yeah, 100%. You look at the first 3 weeks that he had, too. It's like he only had 5 catches. And then his last 6, 7, 8 games, he had 8, 9 catches per game. Yeah,
I lost the fantasy football game because of him. Yeah. But I'm okay with that. Yeah. I'm okay with that.
So it's been like, I mean, that's what, that's, like I said, that's what you hope Holmes would be. St. Brown, I look to another guy, a teammate of his at USC, who I think could possibly be there in the late first round, or even your second pick or your third pick in the second round with Drake London. Big 6'5" wide receiver, more of an outside threat than what St. Brown is. St. Brown's definitely a slot guy and a bit more versatile. The Lions need a deep threat. So and he's already been on social media too. He's like, could we have a reunion here in Detroit?
I love that post, man. And that's what we were talking about earlier with these guys feel good and they want to recruit their boys to come.
Right.
Like, it's not like, hey man, I'm in the NFL, but y'all really don't want to play here. It's no, let's reunite in Detroit. Let's go. Because I'm with you. I think if we add a pure number one wide receiver to that offense, that's really the only thing missing. The offensive line is there. The quarterback is up in the air, but we saw when Goff is healthy and when Dan Campbell's calling plays, they were 2-1-1.
Yeah.
So they had a winning record when those two things aligned, and that's awesome. We talked about the offensive line. The tight end is there. We know Amon-Ra St. Brown is probably going to be one of the best slot wide receivers for the next 5-10 years in the NFL.
Yep.
I think you keep Josh Reynolds and put him at the 2.
Yeah.
And then all we need is that 6'5" stretch the field guy, that a big possession wide receiver. And it's either going to come in the draft or free agency, where I'm hollering Allen Robinson.
Yeah, bring the boy back to Detroit.
Come on, Allen. Come on home, buddy.
Make the case for him, Stick. So, I mean, you're right. That's really the only spot. I mean, you got Hawk at tight end. Maybe you bring in a free agent, another good number 2 that you can kind of pair up with him. But other than that, you look at this offense going into next year, there shouldn't be any reason why these guys can't win 6, 7, 8 games, in my opinion.
Especially when you look at the schedule they had. You got to remember, this year we had, I think it was the 4th toughest schedule in the NFL.
Yeah.
That was preseason rankings of the schedule. But next year, I think we got like the 2nd easiest schedule in the NFL. And that matters. Schedule matters.
Yeah.
Lucky in our division, there's some turmoil going on with the Vikings, and there's some turmoil going on with the Bears. Let's hope they don't hire our boy from the Dolphins. Yeah. I do not want to see Flores in a Bears. Just don't.
Especially with the Bears defense they have right now, too.
Oh man, that's what scares the hell out of me. It really scares the hell out of me. What up, Sawyer?
Yeah, I just saw a question from Official Savage in the chat. He said, what if Jameson Williams falls to our Rams pick? How would you guys feel about that coming off like an ACL in the national championship?
With Jameson Williams blowing his ACL out, he was slated to go, close to the top 10, if not inside the top 10 for wide receivers. I still think someone may take him in that first round. I don't know if he'll make it that far down to Lions' second pick.
Someone may take him. It shouldn't be the Lions. We played this game with Ryan Broyles a couple years ago. Remember, he led the NCAA in receptions. We spent a second round pick on him, and he could never get back to what he was. ACL tears, and the way. Anytime it's a non-contact injury like that, too, that's what always scares me. It's one thing if a guy busts into your knee and, it causes issues, but he was just trying to make a cut. And I don't know how you get the strength back in your knee to get the speed back to be the type of wide receiver he is. I'll let somebody else risk and gamble.
Yeah, so, I mean, I may be wrong when I'm saying this, but I believe actually when they repair those ACLs, they actually come back stronger, or at least they're supposed to, because they take part of the hamstring and put it into that ligament. But yeah, it's part of its mindset too, is trusting yourself to make that cut again. And we've seen guys come back from ACL injuries. Like you look at Adrian Peterson, he came back and had a monster career after that. But
he's just a super freak.
Right, exactly. So that I'm kind of with you on that standpoint. But I do think I think a team will still take him in that first round.
They will. Mm-hmm. They will. He has too much upside to not take.
Right.
I just don't. We can't afford to gamble with these picks. But once again, if Brad Holmes decides to draft him, I'm going to be like, all right, Brad probably knows a little bit more than me. I'm down with this.
Yeah, and that's where you're like, okay, you trust the guy making the decision.
If it was Bob Quinn, I'd be like, oh, God, what Bob Quinn with another stupid-ass pick.
I mean, it's definitely, and Official Savage just said in the chat, too, Doctor said he'll be back to his normal sub 4.4 speed. So, I mean,
we'll see.
Yeah, that's... You can say that, but it's, with this Lions organization are you willing to take that risk? He's turned into a risk at this point, unfortunately. And that's what we've talked about. And I know Neil Rule is a big proponent of these guys are going to sit out national championship games. Personally, I don't think that's ever going to happen. I think if you're an athlete and, you've been working your whole career to win the level that you're at, you're going to play those games.
If you bail on your teammates in the championship, I don't want you on my team anyway.
Right.
That, to me, it's just as good as getting an injury because you're showing your character, you're showing the effort, and you're showing that, hey, you're not in this with us. And you know what? You want that bunker mentality on your team. It is you versus the world. And if my best player is like, nah, I'm good, I got to protect my future, that's fine. But stay away from my team.
Yeah, and you make the argument, well, all these people opting out of these bowl games. Well, these bowl games aren't the same as the national championship.
Right, yeah, that's different.
Right.
Honestly, that's completely different. Kenneth Walker, I understand it. You're not playing for anything.
Right.
But when you're playing for a national championship, something that supposedly you put in all the hard work for, I just know I would be massively disappointed if I was on a team and our star players like, national championship? Sorry, guys, I'm out. And it's like, then why the hell did we put in the hard work? Why the hell did we act like brothers? Why the hell did we do this for so long if you're going to bail on us when we need you the most?
Yeah, and I even look back, you look at like the Matt Leinart and Reggie Bush, the USC days. Like Reggie Bush had an okay career. Matt Leinart didn't really pan out in the NFL.
Right.
And could you imagine like if he sat out that national championship game, he'd have no legacy in football.
That's a great point.
That's kind of my argument for that is just because you sit out doesn't mean you're guaranteed to have a great NFL career. So if you want to have some type of like Vince Young, going to be a legend at Texas for forever. Reggie Bush, even though they've kind of banned him from USC, but he's still
they'll bring him back.
He's still a legend. And same thing with Matt Leinart. Like you're gonna remember those games and that type of team. It still has that nostalgia and that history to it.
Yeah, I mean, not to get like too deep with it, but there's a life lesson in there. Like don't be a prisoner of the future. Like live in the moment.
Right.
You're never going to get those opportunities back. So don't plan for something that may never happen. And honestly, like we've seen guys get injured in the off season too, just playing basketball, falling off a bike, Joel Zumaya playing Guitar Hero, just all types of weird stuff can happen. So I don't know, man. You got to take advantage of those opportunities when you have them in front of you, because I thought that was a great point by you. Those are memories that you're missing out on.
Yeah, and those are some of my favorite memories of all time. So we got to get to a quick break, but Stick's got a quick word from our friends over at Cintron.
Hell yeah, and it's going to be a Cintron weekend for me, baby. This is a premium beverage for your lifestyle, and it's if you're going to the game, make sure you got a Cintron. You're going to the bar, make sure you got a Cintron. You're hanging at home, just partying by yourself, make sure you got Cintron with you. And it's not only energy drinks. They have water, they have health drinks, stuff for your dietary needs as well. So it's a whole lifestyle, and we want you to get involved in it, because once you start living that Cintron life, you're living right. So make sure you pick it up at your local store. And if you're out at the bar, ask for, a Gypsy and Cintron. Throw that together. Just do your thing and be a part of this. Great people. They're a part of the Pistons. They're a part of the Red Wings. They're in LCA, and we just love them here at Woodward Sports. So make sure you're looking for it. Cintron.
Everything that we've hoped for, finally.
He's going deep, right side. Oh, that is Edwards out there. He goes up in the air at the goal line.
Hey, it's Brandon Edwards here, wanting to welcome the sports marketing agency to Woodward Sports Network, to the family. Glad to have you guys. For the last decade, the sports marketing agency has literally leveraged athletes around issues such as mental health and substance abuse.
It's all happening now.
Woodward Sports. Missed part of the show today? Watch again on YouTube or download the podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts.
We are back here on Big D Energy. I am Nick Leach, filling in for my boy Neil Rule. To my left, we got Stick filling in for four-time Stanley Cup champion Darren McCarty. Easy was supposed to be on the show today. He's actually in the chat, so shout out to Easy.
I'm glad Easy can still communicate, though, because he lost his voice. That's why he's not here. He was supposed to be with you. He'll be on next week once he gets his voice back, but damn, man. Dude sounded like Bane.
Dude, I talked to him on the phone earlier this morning, too, and he sounded even worse. Like, you could understand, like, maybe every 3 words that were coming out of his mouth. So rest up, Easy. We want you back here. So
drink that tea, Easy.
Yeah. But so guys, we were right before break. We were sitting there talking, Brad Holmes, the culture, what he's done for the Lions. Another position that we kind of have to talk about for this Lions organization is the offensive coordinator position and what needs to be done. I gave huge credit to Dan Campbell of relieving Anthony Lynn of his duties this offseason. Like I said, if it's not working out, these guys are quick to pull the trigger, and I'm all for that. Let's make this thing happen quickly, especially if us fans can sit there and say, dude, something's not working.
Yeah, the saying is fail fast, and if you fail fast, you got to clean it up fast too. And to me, what he did in the middle of the season by stripping those rights and taking over the play calling, at first I think we were all like, oh, God, this thing's already off the rails. They just hired this guy. He's firing him. Dan Campbell doesn't know what the hell he's doing. And then it played out in his favor. And we saw that Dan Campbell does know what the hell he's doing. The play calling the first 2 games he took over, marginally better.
Sus.
Yeah, but by the end of the season, he found his rhythm. He got those trick plays in that we're talking about. So to me, that was the turning point of the entire season when Dan Campbell did that. As far as who's next, I honestly don't know, because the offensive coordinators that I like right now are Kellen Moore. You like Byron Leftwich, but those guys aren't going to move for a lateral position. We were able to get Deuce Staley to do that and a couple other coaches, but I don't see them leaving where they're at to come here for the same position. So who's the next up and comer? Is there a guy in college that is a creative? Because that's what I want. I want creative play calling. It works for us. The gimmicks worked for us this year. So we need more gadgets. We need somebody that knows how to utilize an Amon-Ra St. Brown almost like they do Tyreek Hill in Kansas City. We need that type of production and that type of creativity. Off the top of my head, nobody stands out for me.
What about Josh Gaddis from Michigan? That's a name that's kind of been thrown around quite a bit.
I mean,
the only thing that kind of worries me about that is that offense was so run heavy. Obviously I think you're gonna get JJ McCarthy at Michigan next year, so you'll definitely see more of the passing side. So I'd like to see how he evolves there, but to me, that's my kind of one red flag with him is it became so run heavy dominant that you can only get so creative with the run defense.
Yeah.
Or run offense, excuse me.
And not to be a prisoner of the moment, but you go back to the Georgia game and what the hell were you thinking trying to run up the middle on Georgia constantly? That was stupid. That was dumb play calling. Honestly, we talked about it in the pregame. Hey, you're not going to be able to run up the middle against these guys, so get to the edges. And yes, Georgia's linebackers have incredible speed and can cover the edges too, but at least you're getting your guys in space and potentially make a missed tackle, big play out of that. And it didn't happen against Georgia. So, like I said, I don't want to be a prisoner of the moment, but the last time Josh Gaddis was calling plays, I was not impressed.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a great argument to have. And another name that's being thrown around, too, is Ken Dorsey, the quarterback's coach out of Buffalo. So he spent some time there with Josh Allen. That's a name, obviously, that he makes a step up if he comes here and becomes the offensive coordinator. That's a name that I think a lot of guys, if you're looking outside the organization, that, give it a try.
Yeah, I would love anybody to come from the Buffalo offense. I like that. But how much of that is predicated on Josh Allen and his athletic ability and how he can make plays? I would love somebody from the Saints. I would love somebody maybe from San Francisco because I like the way they use Deebo Samuel this year, and I like that style of offense.
You're not getting Kyle Shanahan, though.
No,
you know he's the genius behind all of that.
He is, but, you can mentor people up,
Agreed.
Sean Payton clearly coached up Dan Campbell a little bit, and, we see some of that in our offensive scheme. So that's what I'm looking for. I don't want somebody from an organization that's boring as hell. Yeah. I want somebody from the Chiefs. I want somebody when I watch the Chiefs play, I have fun watching them play.
Right.
The motion, the pre-snap, audibles, all that stuff. The way they get Tyreek Hill in space, the way they use Travis Kelce. I love that, and I want a piece of that here.
Yeah, you got to be afraid, to not get creative, like you said, and you've seen that. We're talking about a team that has superior talent in Kelce and Patrick Mahomes, but they still are super creative. And when you have a guy like Amon-Ra St. Brown, and like I said, if you bring in a Drake London, if you bring in an Allen Robinson, you're going to make that offense so much better that you can get even more creative than they did this year. So I look at a guy and Ben Johnson, who was the passing game coordinator after Lynn was kind of relieved of his duties, and he was, I think, a big reason of why they got so creative of putting St. Brown in the backfield and using different looks to confuse the defense.
Yeah, I'm good with that. Bring back our boy Jim Bob Cooter.
Well,
my favorite part about Jim Bob Cooter is his name was James Robert, and he chose to go by Jim Bob. Like, that was a life choice,
and
he committed.
Anybody that called the game, like Fox or CBS, like they made sure to say Jim Bob Cooter in their broadcast.
Hell yeah, you have to.
It's a great name,
Jim Bob Cooter.
The one that I'm actually shocked with is Joe Lombardi over in L.A. with the Chargers. Like, he's actually kind of like. Obviously, they just missed the playoffs, so it sucks for them. But, he got creative with them as well too. And when he was here in Detroit, like, he was very bored.
Yeah. I honestly, like I said, I don't know. Nobody is at the top of the chart for me. Like, oh man, this is a guy we gotta go get. Unless they're already great offensive coordinators. So I'm not sure what direction they're going to go in. But as we know, these guys, if they bring a guy in, it's going to be somebody that fits the system. It's going to be somebody that's going to help them get to where they're going with the plan that they have in place and that they keep pounding away at. And if it doesn't work out, we know he's going to fire him mid-season. So I'm really not too concerned who they bring in.
Yeah, that's kind of my thought too, is like in these interview processes, like, do this, like, hey, by the way, if this doesn't work out by week 8, like, we're going to go in a different direction.
Yeah, you saw what happened to the last guy. You better have your stuff together, buddy.
Yeah, everyone's getting a 1-year deal. But, I see some of the chat talking is, Deuce Staley is a guy that, running backs coach. And he kind of strikes me more of the type of Dan Campbell. He's like, just in charge of a specific group, and then will eventually just form into a head coach. I don't necessarily, I think Deuce is going to be exactly a coordinator. I could be completely wrong about that, but, listening to his press conferences and watching him on the sideline, that's kind of the role he strikes me more as, making that jump from like a running back coach to an NFL coach.
Yeah, I think his title was assistant head coach this year. So, he literally is kind of following Dan Campbell's footsteps, because that's what Dan Campbell was when he was with the Saints. And Deuce will definitely get a look at a head coaching job somewhere along the line. I'm not really sure what type of offensive scheme he would run, but he's already been Dan's boy for an entire year here, so he probably understands where they want to go. And I think a lot of this also, do they get their OC and then go to the draft, or do you go to the draft and then find your OC? Because they're going to have some influence on who you draft. If your OC likes a mobile quarterback, you may lean towards Willis a little bit, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. If you want your pocket passer, Sam Howell a little bit, right? So all these things are going to intertwine, and it's just really the direction of where they want to go.
Yeah, and they even asked, Dan Campbell about, keeping that role. Is like, do you even really need an offensive coordinator? Like,
you do, man. You do. Dan Campbell can't call the plays for the rest of his life.
Right, like that's kind of a job in itself, right? If you're not managing and I think he's done kind of a great job at managing his staff too. So if you lose that and have to focus on play calling, is what maybe you kind of fall asleep at the wheel at something else too. So I think, like you said, I think you have to have an offensive coordinator.
Right.
I don't think but you do see guys like a name I brought up, Kyle Shanahan. He's still calling a lot of the plays there in San Francisco. Mm-hmm. Andy Reid will call plays time to time over Bieniemy. So it's definitely an interesting debate to have.
Right.
But like I said, whoever they bring in, I'll be interested to see if it's a former player though too. If they bring someone from the outside, because that's kind of the theme they've been going with here.
I was going to say, that's kind of their MO right now, right? Hey, you played in the league, you know a little bit. Come on, you can be a part of our coaching staff. And I like that because, you're supporting Dan Campbell, who now is going into his second year, and you're supporting him with vets who understand the game. Yeah, and
another name that, people don't is Antoine Randall. Is, he was kind of like, you look back to his Pittsburgh days, some of the most famous plays I remember is the trick plays that was ran with him, of him throwing the ball downfield to Hines Ward or even Antonio Brown when he was there too. So that's why I think it's been a group effort to keep that creativity. So even if they bring in maybe an OC who's not as creative, you're going to have those guys who played the game influence him pretty heavily.
Yeah, and people are talking in the chat about a wide receiver if we do get them in the draft, Hamilton or Burks. And I see people going back and forth on who should be drafted higher. I'm a Burks guy. I think, I dive deep into the rookies for my dynasty football stuff. Mm-hmm. And to me, Burks is by far and away the best wide receiver to come out of this draft. So if we have a chance to get him that late, I think we should go with Burks.
Yeah, but I would imagine now with the whole Williams injury, he's probably going to jump up to the top of a lot of people's draft boards. If receiver is a position position you're looking at. So it's definitely, I would imagine, there's been a lot of talk about this as well. I've seen the guys over at Pride of Detroit, they've been putting a few articles about it as well too, and my guess is they're going to want to try to nail this, get this all back together a lot sooner than we think.
Oh yeah, I mean, time's ticking, baby. Like we're getting there, and the ship is moving, and we're going towards the Caribbean.
Yeah, bring on the Caribbean.
Bring on the Caribbean, baby.
And obviously, I want to get your opinion before we go to break real quick too. Is the whole Aaron Glenn situation? Look at the defensive coordinator situation. I don't think he's going to leave. I do think he should, rightfully so. He should get an interview somewhere.
Oh yeah,
but how many of these coordinators have we seen get interviews? Kellen Moore's gotten interviews. Bieniemy's gotten interviews, and they're just kind of testing their waters to see what they like. So I'm not too worried if Aaron Glenn happens to leave by chance. Aubrey Pleasant's sitting right there, who I think is a big part of this as well.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't take interviews, you're stupid. Like, honestly, even if you don't want the job, it's always good to practice your interviewing skills. It's always good to get your name in different circles, because you never know down the road where that will lead to. And that's for anything you do in life, not just being a football coach. So if you ever get an opportunity to get an interview, even if you don't want the job, take the interview. You never know where it's going to lead to. But I loved Aaron Glenn's quote about, I want to be the best defensive coordinator Detroit has ever had. And I don't see him going anywhere. He comes across to me like a loyal guy. He comes across to me like he's passionate about this specific project. He likes the people he's working with right now. And that's, once again, goes back to the culture that Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell have created. So hopefully they don't dangle a big enough carrot in front of them, because we're all human. You can pay me. You can buy my loyalty if you need to. But at the end of the day, I think he was proud of what he accomplished this year here in Detroit. And I think he wants to show the world what he can do. Because if you win in Detroit, if you win in Detroit, you have written your ticket pretty much to go anywhere.
Yeah.
Anywhere. Because who's ever won here? Nobody. And who's ever left here and done better? Nobody. So, if these two guys can stick together and get this thing to where we win a couple playoff games, or we win playoff games, they are going to be kings of this city forever, which is crazy, and our bar is so low, and it shouldn't be, but it is. That's reality. That's who we are, right? So, to me, I love that he has that, I'm going to be here, I want to be the best ever. I love that.
Yeah, and you brought that's the exact point I was going to bring up too, is who doesn't want to be, the staff that, that got Detroit back, or got him the first ever Super Bowl, or get him to their first ever Super Bowl appearance. You'll kind of
a playoff win.
Yeah, you'll go down as a legend. But, speaking of defenses, Stick, tell us about the best home defense you can get.
You want to go down as a legend? Make sure you protect your family. Make sure you protect your home. And there's one way to do it. You call 1-800-STAY-OUT, and Guardian Alarm will take care of the rest. You can do the in-home monitoring. They can let you know, if your oxygen level is off in your house. That's how advanced that they have it. And they've been around for 90 years, and they've kept up with the technology, and they've actually pioneered a lot of it as well. So if you're looking to protect everything in your home as well as yourself, all you got to do, call 1-800-STAY-OUT. That's 1-800-STAY-OUT. It's 1-800-STAY-OUT. Get out right now. You're not allowed in my house because Guardian said so.
Fellas, football season is here. It's time to make your grooming experience easy like Sunday morning. Get to Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Walk in, relax, watch your favorite team play, and before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Get to Lady Jane's, open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
What's the over-under? Should I tease? Who is the lock of the night? Make sure you're watching Woodward Bets to get the latest in sports betting and more. Woodward Bets daily on Woodward Sports.
Welcome back to Big D Energy. I am Nick Leach, filling in for Neil Rule. To my left, I got Stick, filling in for four-time Stanley Cup champion Darren McCarty. We're having some fun, Stick. I like doing a show with you.
Hey, man, it's our first time together. I hope I'm gentle.
Yeah. No offense, Easy. Don't worry, I still miss you, baby.
We love you, Easy.
Get well soon, buddy.
I've never done a show solo with Easy either.
He's a lot of fun. He'll kind of ask you some off the wall questions that you don't see coming, but they make you think, and they're always entertaining questions as well.
He's got a strange brain.
Yeah, that he does. And if you do a show too, get ready to do some grades and some rankings. That guy loves to rank and do grades.
It was funny because yesterday, like I said, Scott Bischoff was in here, and we're just having a football conversation with him. Easy's taking notes.
Yeah,
I loved it. I look over and he's taking notes of our just general conversation.
Yeah, it's fascinating, watching him grow throughout this network, along with myself too. It's been I always look at people that if you're taking notes, like you're still writing like pen to paper,
right?
You're a pretty smart individual.
You're a student of the game.
Yeah, absolutely, and you always got to be learning, especially here in sports. Game's always changing. But we've talked a lot of Lions so far, but let's shift this talk a little bit to national,
to playoff teams,
and talk about the teams that are actually still playing this weekend. So. We've got 6 games this weekend. I love the new format. I absolutely love this new format. Sawyer's got the graphic up there on the screen. You've got the Raiders versus the Bengals. You've got the Patriots versus the Bills. You've got the Steelers versus Kansas City. You've got Cardinals versus LA. You've got San Fran versus the Cowboys. You've got the Eagles versus the Buccaneers. And obviously you still got your 1 seeds with Tennessee and Green Bay waiting on those guys, on some of those matchups. So I am fired up for these matchups this weekend, and let's kind of look at this first game first, Stick. That's on Saturday at 4:30. You've got the Raiders versus the Bengals, and this Bengals team been my favorite team to watch all year long. I think
both of these teams I have room in my heart for.
Yeah.
Even though it's the Bengals are from Ohio and I hate everything from Ohio, besides that, I really love to watch this team. They're fun to watch. I mean, Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow. Watch those guys play catch all day long. But then you shift over to the Raiders and think of the adversity that team's been through this year. John Gruden gets fired. You got Ruggs killing a girl and her dog, driving 180 miles in his car. Then everything pretty much imploded around them. But Derek Carr and their coach were able to hold it together, and they're a playoff team. How can you not love that?
Well, and that's what I think. I'm trying to remember who. I think Darius Butler said maybe on Pat McAfee's show, where he even tweeted it out. He goes, you got to start showing more appreciation for what Derek Carr does on the field and what he does off the field, because he's just literally kind of like a perfect human being.
He took 2 bold stances this season that in the cancel culture era, it could have really screwed him. Like after Gruden got fired, he had Gruden's back. After Ruggs kills a girl, he said this guy needs love.
Yeah.
Those are it's tough to take a stand like that, because while everybody else is piling on, that's the easy thing to do. But even though those people were no longer a part of the team, you got to know in that locker room that guy has your back. And you know what? Even if I do the dumbest thing in my life, my quarterback is going to support me. And that goes a long way, man. It really does, when your best or your peak athlete is the most supportive athlete. And I can't speak highly enough about the job that the Raiders did this year. I really can't. Well, I don't want to see anybody lose this game, but it's going to be a fun game too.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And it's you go back to what you say about Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow a little bit, and to me it kind of reminds me a little bit of the younger Matthew Stafford days here in Detroit, where Calvin's down there, just chuck it up and hopefully he comes down with it. That's Joe Burrow. We saw a lot of that with Joe Burrow this year, and letting it kind of fly, and that was for me very entertaining to watch. Obviously, it's not Jamar Chase isn't Calvin Johnson, but he had a great rookie season.
I mean, Jamar Chase has every intangible to be just as good as Calvin Johnson. He's not as tall, he's not as thick, but the way he runs routes, the way he gets open, some of the catches he made this season, and I didn't think it was the right pick for the Bengals. I thought you got your quarterback, you should have protected him with Penei Sewell. Yeah. So when they drafted him, I mean, we were shooting off fireworks, right? Like, oh my God, Sewell's going to drop to us. And he did. And it was the right pick for the Bengals. It really was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Sewell was the right pick for us as well, too.
It's funny how things work out in life, isn't it?
But this game's entertaining. It's going to be entertaining, excuse me. But currently the line sits Cincinnati -5.5. I like Cincy at home. Like I said, Joe Burrow and must-win games kind of that we've seen over the last couple years is he's kind of dominated them.
I'm excited for this game. I would take the points. I think it's going to be a lot closer than that, but I do think it's going to be a high-scoring game, especially with Waller back. Josh Jacobs has had a sneaky, really good season. And, like we talked about, Derek Carr's the man. Then you switch over to the defense. You got to love Jonathan Abrams. Yeah. That guy is one of the smartest athlete/players I've ever seen on the field. He's a great guy.
Max Crosby's had a phenomenal year. Eastern Michigan, baby.
There you go. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to this game. I would take the Raiders if I'm betting against the line, but if I'm just betting money line, I'd probably go with the Bengals.
What do you think final score prediction? What do you got for that one?
I got like 28-34, something like that.
Okay, I could see that. I think it's going to be high-scoring affair as well, too. Like you said, you get Waller back, you got Mixon, you got Jacobs. Like a lot of good pieces for both offenses. I'm thinking kind of right. I'm thinking 28-24 Bengals.
Okay.
I still think it's going to be a close game as well, too.
Yeah,
so
fun game.
Yeah, absolutely. The night game on Saturday, you got Patriots versus the Bills. So they split
round 3 too.
Yeah, round 3. So series split 1-1. We saw the crazy game in Buffalo with blowing 50 or 100 miles an hour wind, field goal post waving, and
three passes
out of
Mac Jones.
Out of Mac Jones, and Patriots were able to take that one. And the thing, this was kind of the Buffalo Bills team was a few picks this year for some people to make that Super Bowl out of the AFC, and rightfully so. We've seen what Josh Allen can do. Stephon Diggs had an unbelievable catch last weekend. It actually was out of bounds, but the catch and throw that Allen and Diggs made, and I love that tune-up as well that those guys have there too. As long as the weather's good, I like the Bills' chances in this. It's just hard to keep up with what Josh Allen can do throwing the ball. Mac Jones just isn't there yet, but like you said, you can't say enough great things about a rookie quarterback making the playoffs in his first year.
The Bills should, by all rights, be the favorite to win this game, right? Yeah. But it's all going to be predicated on if they can stop the run. That has been their weakness all season long. Right. You've seen teams like you saw the Colts just absolutely throttle them with the run. And then you saw the Patriots throttle them with Amon-Ra Stevenson in the run. So if the if the Bills can stop the run, I think they got a really good chance of winning the game. If they can't, it's over for them. Well, their whole season's just for nothing.
Yeah, and this Bills defense was a defense that was supposed to be one of the highly touted defenses in the league, and I actually even had them in fantasy as well too. The first couple of weeks they were looking good, and then all of a sudden it just fell off the rails.
Yeah, well, people figured them out. That's what happens in the NFL, like the offensive coordinators on the other side get paid pretty good too. Pretty smart guys, and once it gets put on tape of how to beat you, you better adjust quickly or everybody's just going to use that game plan and keep punching you in the face.
Yeah, agreed. So the line right now for that one is Buffalo -4.5, which I actually thought maybe it'd be like closer to 6.5, but the Patriots defense has been real solid this year. You got the McCourty boys back there, Judon. What a great addition to that defensive line.
Back.
Yeah. Anyway, Jelani Tavai's there too.
Yeah. I don't bet against Bill Belichick and I don't bet against Tom Brady. I've learned my lessons over the years, and even though they broke up last year, you still did well by betting on those two men. And I like the Patriots in this game.
Really?
I do.
Oh, wow.
I really do. I mean, you match up with Bill Belichick 3 times, he's going to figure you out. And even though last game was kind of not really a game, it was really just a gimmick of who could run the ball better in that crazy snowstorm. But at the end of the day, I'm taking Patriots.
Yeah, see, I like the Bills in this one. I go back to the matchup early in the year where it was at New England, and the Bills won 33-21, I think it was. And I think you're going to see something kind of along the same line, or along the same lines as Damian Harris has had a great year for New England running that football, like we've talked about. But I see Buffalo. I kind of see them getting hot in this game with the offense, with Josh Allen, Cole Beasley, Singletary has kind of stepped up and been their lead back.
What's the weather going to be like in Buffalo?
So currently, right now, it's 5 degrees there, or I think that's what they're predicting it to be. Woo. So it's going to be a chilly one.
It won't bother either of these teams. I mean, they're both equipped, and this is what they were born in the cold.
Well, did you see what our boy Bart Scott said Josh Allen needs to do?
No.
He needs to pop a Viagra to keep the blood flowing and stay warm throughout the game.
Hey, that's my trick.
Yeah,
that's my Friday night going out trick.
I mean, Bart might be onto something there. And then TJ Lang, our boy TJ Lang, quote tweeted it and said, "Yeah, also use cocaine too. That'll help you out as well." So
solid advice.
Yeah,
solid life advice.
But I think this one's gonna be a 31-14 14 type game. I do think Buffalo's defense steps up, and this may be one of the least entertaining games of the playoffs this weekend.
I got like a boring score of like 16-14, something like
low
that.
Low-scoring again?
Yeah, something like that. These two, when you're this familiar with each other, it's going to be damn hard to score.
Right.
And the weather and, this is an ugly game where Belichick's going to muck it up because that's the only chance they have to win.
Right, yeah. You got to keep it low scoring, right?
Yep.
So, all right, moving to Sunday. We got Eagles versus Buccaneers. Tom Brady at home. Eagles, one of the more sus teams in the playoffs.
Right.
Bucks all the way.
Yeah, Bucks, moving on.
Yeah, there's not much to talk about.
Not much to talk about in this.
I mean, the one thing I will say about the Eagles is what the job they've done. I think they got 3 first-round picks now.
Yeah, congrats, Eagles. You made the playoffs. You're going to get kicked in the face, but attack next year.
Yeah. How shocked would you be if the Eagles actually won that football game?
Pretty shocked.
Yeah.
Pretty shocked.
Yeah. The line right now is Tampa Bay minus 8.5. But like I said, this could get. I think this could even get ugly. I think this could be like 38 to 10.
And you know what's going to happen? Perriman's going to score like 3 touchdowns, and we're just going to be sitting here like, oh, we could have had that. Oh, we did have that guy.
Yeah.
We did have that guy.
Yeah, but he wasn't going to work out here.
No.
Like I said, I don't think there's really much to talk about with the Bucs game. Like you said, don't bet against Tom Brady.
Ever.
I think he's going to be the MVP of the NFL this year.
He should be.
Triple Crown winner in TDs, passing yards. So
it's Tom Brady.
Tom, baby.
What else can we say about Tom Brady? All right, next game.
Next game, we got Cowboys 49ers. This I honestly think might be one of the most intriguing game of the weekend to me.
Yeah, it's all going to rely on the quarterbacks too. You know, Dak is an up and down quarterback. You never know exactly what you're going to get from him, and Garoppolo is pretty much the same way. He can do great things, but he can also do many not great things. I talked a little bit about the San Francisco offense earlier. I love Deebo Samuel. You love George Kittle. I like this matchup too, and to me, God, it's so tough to pick, and I hate the Cowboys, so it's really tough to pick the Cowboys, but I do think the Cowboys will edge out the 49ers in this game.
I do too, and like I said, the Cowboys are probably, Packers 1A, Cowboys 1B. It's like my most hated teams in the NFL. I love Dak Prescott, though. I do. I think what he's done off the field, bouncing back from that ankle injury, like his ankle was dangling
Comeback
last year.
Player of the Year for sure.
No doubts about it. And just what he brings to the table is, it's kind of which Dak are you going to get, though? Are you going to get the Dak that's going to air it out, or are you going to get the Dak that kind of, makes a few mistakes and has a few turnovers? Is Ezekiel Elliott poised for a big game? That's kind of been,
The Cowboys are so weird, man.
I know.
Like, outside of CeeDee Lamb, nobody's consistent.
Right, it's
Amari
hard to
Cooper,
predict.
great wide receiver, very inconsistent. Zeke, great running back, very inconsistent. Pollard sometimes looks better than Zeke when he's out there. And the Cowboys, I don't know. I like their offensive scheme. I love Kellen Moore. Just sometimes they just can't put it all together, and that's what scares me about them.
Yeah, I even look at the San Francisco side with Jimmy G. What Jimmy G's been able to do with them taking Trey Lance last year, and
pure class.
And like I said, what if the 49ers go on a deep run here? If they get to the NFC Championship, if they make it back to the Super Bowl,
they have the skills. They do, honestly. I like the 49ers, but, Lions took them to the limit in the first game of the season.
Yeah.
They snuck into the playoffs. I just don't feel that they have that massive momentum that you need when you're rolling into the playoffs as an underdog.
Yeah, I think this game kind of turns into, is do the Cowboys shoot themselves in the foot?
Right.
But I think it's going to be a close game. I got this one, Cowboys 24, San Francisco 23.
Okay, I'm right in that range. I'd like to see it, 28-31 type score. Dallas has to put up points if they want to beat San Francisco, but it's going to be a close game. All these games this weekend, there's only, outside the Bucs Eagles, I think all games are intriguing matchups.
Yeah, agreed. And looking at the Sunday night game, the team that lucked into the playoffs, I guess you could say, with the Steelers taking on the Chiefs.
Hey man, I would take a luck into the playoffs any day.
I would too.
Any day. That's what drives me nuts about people who bash the Steelers. Like, oh, they're in the middle of the pack. They're never gonna win a Super Bowl. It's like they're in the fight. Eventually, they're gonna land a punch.
Yeah.
Like, it's just what happens when you are in the fight all the time. What up, Sawyer?
Yeah, I know we have to go to a break, but did you guys hear Big Ben's comments about this? Where he's like, there's 14 teams in the playoffs. We're probably the 14th worst team in the playoffs, so we're going to get smoked, but I don't care. We're just going to go out and have fun. So he's just laying into it. So now, Super Bowl?
Yeah?
Super Bowl?
When you get a team out there that that's kind of playing careless, That's a dangerous football team to be competing with.
And the narrative's there.
They got nothing to lose. They got they're playing with house money. That's the saying, right? Like if they win, it's awesome. If they lose, it's expected. So there's really no losing actually.
Yeah, I also have one more question for you guys. Like I'm just getting into sports betting, so where would I go to bet on these games this weekend? Because there's so many.
Dude, there's only one place. There's only one place you can go, and that's mybookie.ag. They will match. Use the promo code Woodward too, Sawyer. Don't forget about that. Use promo code Woodward, and mybookie will match up to 50% of your deposits. Free money. They're handing out free money, Sawyer. We need free money. So head over to mybookie.ag. Bet on all of these games. Parlay these games. Do the player props. Keep yourself entertained all weekend long. Like I said, I might bet on the Eagles-Bucks game with some player props just because it'll keep that game entertaining for what I expect to be a blowout. So make sure you head over to mybookie.ag, use promo code Woodward, and MyBookie will match up to 50% of your deposits. Big D Energy, we'll be right back.
6 dark corners, a driveway and a patio, 5 windows that could become doors. Every house has unique security challenges. Guardian Alarm has more tech, more team, and more ways to help keep them all safe. Get a professionally designed and installed security and smart home system from Guardian Alarm. Sign up today and get a free video device. Guardian Alarm. Smart, right from the start. Call 1-800-STAY-OUT.
Putting on a show here, and that's how you answer. We love our sports. We just wish they'd love us back. Detroit sports for Detroit sports fans. Woodward Sports.
We are back here on Big D Energy. Big D. I am Nick Leach filling in for Neil Rule. To my left, got my boy Stick filling in for 4-time Stanley Cup champion Darren McCarty. We're hanging out. We're talking football.
Hell yeah.
We're talking playoffs.
We're talking super wild card weekend, baby.
Oh my God. We had a Monday night game out of this year.
I love it.
How awesome is that? It's the last game we've got left to talk about. We've talked about the other 5 games leading up to this, but obviously this one means a little bit more to us.
Yeah, there's something on the line for us in this game. Every time the Rams win from here on out, our draft position drops 2 spots. Don't want that.
So
don't want that at all.
We've got the Cardinals taking on the Rams, Monday Night Football, 8:15 start. Former Detroit Lion Matthew Stafford.
Oh, he played for us?
Yeah.
Oh.
You remember that guy?
Yeah, I do. I remember 12 years of mediocrity.
Well, how was his playoff record in those games?
0-3.
Oh, okay.
0-3.
Oh, thanks for that.
And then he said he never played in any big games when he went to L.A. That was awesome.
Yeah, that was kind of weird, huh? Yeah, I guess that didn't mean nothing. But no, we got Matthew Stafford and the Rams taking on the Cardinals. Kyler Murray. I mean, we have not seen the best Matthew Stafford. You know, the mediocrity, like you just kind of talked about with him. The NFL's gotten a dose of that. You know, it was Stafford the first 10 weeks of the season.
Yep.
It's kind of fallen off. The NFL's the national media is like, you know, they're really questioning what type of quarterback this guy is going to be in the playoffs, and can you trust this guy to play 4 seamless games to get you to a Super Bowl?
And can you imagine being the Rams right now? You gave up all that draft capital. You know, you give up the quarterback who did take you to the Super Bowl, and you're sitting there pretty much in the same position. Can this guy get us there? Which Stafford am I going to get? And you're right, the honeymoon, once that wore off, people started, you know, a leopard can't change his spots is the saying that I love to go to on this. Stafford is what Stafford is. He's a gunslinger, and that's great. He can throw from all angles. We know that. He went to high school with Clayton Kershaw. We know that too. But in big-time moments, he gets happy feet. And watch Stafford's feet. And when I was a Lions fan, or I am a Lions fan, when he was a Lion, that's what I would watch for. And whenever he started to get like jittery feet, you could tell, pick 6 is about to come or something's about to happen. And this year he's led the NFL in pick 6s. Good quarterback. Great. That's up for debate. That's why he went to LA, to prove that he is a great quarterback. But at the end of the day, can he get it done? And can he get it done against a Cardinals defense that has seen him already twice this year?
Look, I mean, I am a Matthew Stafford guy. I love Matthew Stafford, what he brought here to Detroit. He brought consistency, right? I mean, one of the first quarterbacks I remember are Charlie Batch and Joey Harrington.
Oh God, yeah.
So for
Mike
me,
McMahon.
Yeah. So for me, you know, to sit there and Matthew Stafford is, you know, the first guy that you kind of got to, you know, fall in love is like, this guy, this is going to be his year. Can he do it? Can he do this? So for me, I might not be in the same bandwagon as you, as, you know, mediocrity. To me, he was the first kind of real quarterback here for me in Detroit.
He's the best quarterback the Lions have ever had. I will not debate that, but that doesn't mean he's great.
Correct.
Like just because you've dated 5s your whole life and you finally get a 7 doesn't mean she's hot.
Yeah, that's a great point. But to me, that's the one thing I've always said about him too is his feet. Is when he's comfortable, he takes his 3 or 5 step drops and he's sitting in the pocket. But when he's kind of nervous and jittery, like the feet are padding up and down, almost like you're padding a piece of dough or something like that. It's very strange to watch, but like he's not comfortable, and it's almost like he's looking over his shoulder. So that will kind of tell you where this game might go. I love the Arizona defense. I like the LA defense. I do see this potentially turning into a shootout, though. Yeah,
it should. If the Cardinals stand a chance, they need Kyler Murray to get back to Kyler Murray. When he lost his mobility middle of the season, you saw that Cliff Kingsbury offense is not great if you don't have a mobile quarterback, especially when you have a short, non-mobile quarterback who can't see over the line in the pocket. That's a lot of trouble.
Well, I can't remember who it is, so they'll have to forgive me. They were talking about, Kyler Murray in the pocket. When he sets to throw, he drops down a couple more inches. So for a guy that's already not that tall,
he's 5'5" back there by the time he throws.
Yeah, that's what they're saying. Like he's 5'8", sitting behind these guys that are 6'7", and that's kind of been an issue they've talked about with him. And I'm not the tallest guy in the world, so I'm not going to knock the small guys, but I'm also not playing in the NFL behind some big offensive linemen. I look for this to be maybe the second best game of the weekend. Like I said, I think the Dallas 49ers game is the one to watch. But I think Stafford does get it done. I truly do.
Do you?
Yeah. The Cardinals have not been playing their best football coming into this game.
No, I saw a graph yesterday, and it was one of those moving graphs that goes up and down like that, and it showed the Cardinals sitting at the number 2 seed in the AFC pretty much till about week 8, and then it just shows them nosedive. And kind of the exact opposite for the Rams. They were sitting at the number 5 seed pretty much the whole season, and at the end started trending up to become the number 2 seed. I don't want the Rams to win. I really don't, for several reasons. Most of all, the draft pick. But second of all, I want to be right. I want to be right. And I'm okay to admit that because when Stafford was here in Detroit, I had so many conversations about he is the best we ever had, but it's not good enough, right?
Yeah.
And he needs to move on. We need to move on from him. And people would just get so mad at me and say, no, we just need to surround him with the right things. And I've heard everything under the sun that Matthew Stafford needed to win here in Detroit, from a new OC, a new GM, a new line, better wide receivers, a running game, a better defense. Like every Stafford slappy lists all those things. Now you see him with the Rams, and I'm watching some of these games. They're not winning because of him. They're winning despite him.
Yeah.
They're having to cover up a lot of his errors. And yes, he can make the big throw. Him and Cooper Kupp obviously had a great connection this year. But to me, I don't trust him in big games. So I got to go with the Cardinals in this game.
Yeah.
That's my heart pick, though.
So let me ask you this. Are you, if Stafford does make it to the Super Bowl or NFC Championship, are you happy for him? Do you not care? Are you kind of jealous?
To me, he's like an ex I broke up with in high school. I don't care. Okay. I want Stafford to go live a happy life. Like I said before the season, I want Stafford to throw for 10,000 yards and the Rams to lose every game. He can have individual success. To me, it's about the team success for the Rams right now. And we're attached to that team success, so I'm rooting for the Lions.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like I said, to me, I feel like I'm in a win-win type of scenario. And a lot of people, if you're a diehard Lions fan, how could you say that? For me, it's, like I said, I got to watch Joey Harrington growing up. I got to watch... You
say that like it was an honor. I got to watch Joey Harrington. No, it's got to be like, I had to watch Joey Harrington growing up.
It was just so brutal to watch, but at the same time, too, I'm human. I'm going to be happy for Matthew Stafford. I root for people. That's at the end of the day. That's who I am. I root for people. I do believe he gave Detroit his all.
He did.
When his last season here, I think he knew it was going to be his last season. Yep. He didn't have to play some of those games down the stretch last year, and he did. And he said, I'm the quarterback of the Detroit Lions, and I'm going to go out there and do that. One of the crazy things or funny things that kind of came out is, it's kind of, it makes Detroit feel good. Kelly Stafford went on her podcast and talked about, I've never been to a stadium that's a home game and been outdone by the opposing fans. And that happened last week with the 49ers.
Yeah, she was actually pleading for them not to sell their tickets to Arizona Cardinal fans this week.
Yeah.
Which is crazy that, but LA doesn't give a damn about football. They got 2 franchises, and they've been moved out. Oakland was in LA, no, LA doesn't care. They care about USC football. And when USC is clicking, that's the only time the city of Los Angeles really is all in on football.
There's for football, but there's only one team that city cares about.
Lakers.
And that's the Lakers.
Yeah.
100%. They could care less. And maybe the Dodgers a little bit.
Maybe.
But still, they weren't born and bred in LA, so they came from Brooklyn. And I get they made the move quite a time ago, but before we hit this break real quick, Stick, I want to get your Super Bowl predictions.
Oof. Super Bowl predictions. I got the Bucs. I got the Bucs in the Super Bowl.
Wow. Okay.
Who they're playing? That's the tough part. Probably the Bills.
Bucs, you like Bills?
Bucs versus Bills. That to me, those are the most solid teams in the playoffs, and I would put my money there more than anybody else. So yeah, Bucs versus Bills. Tom Brady gets number 2.
Wow, back
in the
to
Bucs
back.
uniform.
Wow, that's it's like you said, it's hard to bet against them.
It is. You're a fool if you do.
So speaking of the NFC side, I like Packers. I hate to say it as a Lions fan. I just, there's that chip on the shoulder with Aaron Rodgers, with Devontae Adams. Their defense has stepped up. They've got some big pieces back with Preston Smith coming back on the defensive side of the ball. Allen Lazard, that is the craziest development. Like, you put Allen Lazard on any other team, he's a flop. It's crazy how that's working. I think this is the year they get back to the Super Bowl. And I think you're going to get a Bills. I don't trust Kansas City. Patrick Mahomes has not been the same quarterback that we've seen in recent years.
It is weird, right?
I said last year, this is my theory on it, is that concussion he had in the AFC Championship against the Browns hasn't been the same quarterback since. He had another concussion earlier this year too that, it's been weird. And I still think, I'm not a doctor or anything like that, but that's my stance with Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, something happened. I don't know if it's specifically that concussion. I don't know, like we were talking earlier, if defensive coordinators kind of figured out how to pressure him and keep him from doing his Patrick Mahomes thing. But yeah, something changed in his game, and it's crazy to me how close he was teetering to being an all-time great last year, and now
there's something off. There's something
we're not
little.
talking about him like that anymore.
Yeah.
Because think about it. If they win the Super Bowl last year, the young Super Bowl winner, already have 2 in his pocket, beat the GOAT to win his second. He would have been talked about in football lore forever. Now, he's a nice quarterback with a Super Bowl win.
Yeah, there's question marks behind him.
But
now.
Is he going to go down as one of the greatest of all time now? That's up for debate. I love this comment by, Robert Casala in here. He was talking about Stafford. Let me see if I can find it real quick. There it is. Like I've said in here many times, Stafford divorced my mom. He ran off with a blonde bimbo. Now a playoff loss will be his child support. If he wins, he's a deadbeat dad. And that's it. That's it, man. He's no longer a part of us. Yes, he's a memory, but that's all it is at this point.
Yeah, and speaking of guys that that can throw the football like Patrick Mahomes, our boy Sawyer actually has a cannon of an arm, and I got to see that on display at the Foaling Warehouse.
Yeah, I've been known to foal a few times here and there. I enjoy the mystery beer machine. That's what brings me out, but also the foaling is just can't miss it, man. You got to go there. So you got to go check out the Foaling Warehouse in Hamtramck. It's a giant warehouse, so many lanes. You can host your corporate events there, team building events, family reunions, or just grab some friends and go. If you want to go just by yourself or with a couple people, you can show up, pay $10, unlimited play the whole time they're open, or you can reserve a private lane for around $120 for up to 10 people for 2 hours. So, either way you do it, you're not going wrong. You're getting plenty of good time to foal. The game is created at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, much like Stick said earlier. Special place to me. That only makes the game so much more special. As I said, 2 full bars in the warehouse, so wherever you go, you can find a drink no problem. Mystery beer machine. I pulled myself an Old Milwaukee and a PBR. You guys know the story. Braylon got himself a Colt 45, so it's just straight hitters every time you play. 3 for 3 with the Woodward Sports Crew hitting the mystery beer machine. Over 100 beers to pick from too. So hey, I haven't been disappointed yet, but if you are disappointed from the mystery beer machine, go get yourself a Two-Hearted Ale. Go get yourself a Corona. Go get yourself a hazy IPA. Whatever you want to drink, they have it there. They have over 100 beers. And it's simple. All you got to do is go to foalingwarehouse.com, all right? Or stay with me here. Or you just go to the Foaling Warehouse in Hamtramck. You just show up and play. It's that simple. So go there, check them out. We got Leach on the desk filling in for Neil. We got Stick filling in for everybody else at the network today. We got Sam in the booth controlling the audio, making sure we sound pretty, and I'm just clicking my one button, making sure we're staying live. We'll be right back here on Big D Energy and the Woodward Sports Network.
Hi, I'm Kay Cunningham. I'm proud to partner with Hall Financial, the mortgage company known for 5-star service. Don't just take my word for it. Check out their 5,000 5-star reviews for yourself. Go to callhallfirst.com and get started with your 5-star experience today.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
Season for us, we're talking sports 365. Detroit Sports Network. Woodward Sports.
We are back here on Big D Energy. I am Nick Leach, filling in for Neil Rule. Got my boy Stick filling in for Darren McCarty. We're hanging out, talking some football. You know, I made a Lakers reference. I always like learning new things.
Yeah.
So I made the error in saying that, you know, the Lakers were born and bred in LA. And then my boy, Robert Casalia, I think that's how you say his name, in the chat corrected me. He said they were actually born in Minnesota.
Hence the name Lakers.
And that makes, I should have known.
Land of 1,000 lakes.
So, I like to think I know a lot about sports. You know, I talked about the Dodgers moving from Brooklyn to L.A.
Yep.
Like, that's something that I guess I never was really told.
If you want a funny explanation for this, watch the, first, I think, 3 minutes of the movie Basketball, because they explain how all these teams wound up where they are. And, you know, they mention it. They're like, and the Lakers moved to LA where there are no lakes. Yeah. You know, stuff like that. And it's like the Utah Jazz came from, I believe, New Orleans, and they moved to Utah where they don't really allow music. You know, so like all these teams wound up in weird places. But yeah, watch the beginning of Basketball. It does a tremendous job of explaining where team names came from.
Yeah, hey, I like learning new things. So shout out to Robert. Thanks for that knowledge. I'll keep that forever with me now. We're getting some props to Sawyer here in the booth for that Foling read. I like listening to Sawyer do that Foling read.
Oh, hey, I appreciate it, man.
Killed it.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, you know what I want to start offering too? If you don't like your $2 mystery beer, I'll reimburse you. I'll reimburse you $2.
Oh, that's a good deal, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm all in for that. So we've been talking a lot of football today. I want to shift the talks just a little bit and talk some Red Wings as they were in action last night against the Winnipeg Jets. Fell to 3-0, or lost 3-0 to the Jets. And you know, the Red Wings are, I feel like for me, the honeymoon phase is over with the Red Wings. You know, Lucas Raymond come in and have a great season, Mo Sider, and that's still going to be fun to watch all season long. But one of my worries with this team all season was, you know, the first line has produced almost 50% of the points and their goals for this team.
Yeah.
And I was really worried that once that slowed down a bit, you know, would a second or third line be able to carry the squad? And we're kind of getting in the aspect now where that's not happening. You know, Philip Zadina is really struggling to score a goal, and that's a guy that you took fourth overall a couple years ago, and he's just not, and you can tell he's pressing. He got healthy scratch the other night, which he wasn't satisfied about, and it was a tough game to watch. I was like, dear Lord, like they had their opportunities, they just couldn't put the puck in the net. And I mean, shout out to Alex Nedeljkovic. What he's done for the Red Wings team at the goalie position this year, it's been unreal. Like the defense has been somewhat okay. You still need one or two pieces back there, and that's coming with Simon Edvinsson. I've talked about him a lot already. But you know, you still need another goal scorer to put on the second or third line.
But this is kind of where we're at in the rebuild, right?
100%.
You know, like it's cool that we've built the first line. Now we got to build the depth, and that's where the Yzer plan, as our boy D-Mac loves to call it, is going to come into play. And that's what you love about Steve Yzerman, because you saw what obviously he did in Tampa Bay, and you see how they've continued to be successful even after he left. And that's what great GMs do. Like, you should be able to leave, and it should function for a couple years at least, right? Because your stamp and your culture is so ingrained in it that it can't go away in just an off season. And that's what Steve Yzerman's doing here too. And you're seeing it little by little. Last night was atrocious. The last couple games have been atrocious. Yeah. But last week I went to the game where they were playing the Ducks, and that was some of the best hockey I've seen in a long time. Crisp passing, you know, teamwork. Like they scored 2 shorthanded goals. It was great to see that type of hockey back in Motown. And that was just kind of a glimpse of what we're going to be once this thing gets clicking on all cylinders.
Yeah, and that's, you've seen that glimpses, right? That's kind of what you talk about, and you're
that's
getting
what keeps you hanging on.
Yeah, exactly. and this first line for the Red Wings, like that's going to be a line that I think is going to be together for a very long time, or at least it should be. All those guys, Larkin is still, I don't even think he's 25 yet, or he might have just turned 25, but that's already a guy that's been in the league 6 years now.
And look right there.
Yeah.
Already selected to the All-Star team in 2022 in Las Vegas. Yeah. From Waterford to Vegas, baby.
Yeah, from Waterford to Vegas. And that's going to be a second All-Star game now. We watched him go to All-Star game his rookie year, broke the fastest skater record for the first time in, I think, almost 20 years it was. So Larkin, and a lot of people, I saw a lot of people questions, like Lucas Raymond maybe should have gone. Should Bertuzzi have gone? But the catalyst in all of this has been Larkin, is when he's been in the lineup with those two guys, that line's performed very, very well. And, as the captain, that's what you expect. Like, you're getting that first line is what you expect a first line to look like for an NHL hockey team. Now you have to supplement that with the second and third lines, with the struggles that they've had. Fabry, I honestly I thought he'd be a little bit more of the goal scorer than we've seen out of him so far this year, even though he just got his extension. So there's pieces here. It's just, making it work now is like you have to get a top center or something to put on that second line with him.
Or just give me like 5 more Giovanni Smiths.
Yeah.
That's all I want. So we can just go and beat the hell out of everybody. I love that guy, man. He doesn't back down. He's always in the fight. Like, I think he had 2 minutes of ice time in the game I went to and like 7 minutes of penalty box time before he got ejected. I love that. We need more of that.
Yeah, well, it's funny you talk about it. It's like a lot of the diehards are kind of sick of the Giovanni Smith experiment, which...
Sorry, diehards. I want some guy that kicks ass.
Well, I think it's fine if you got a guy like that, rough and touty guy, like on your fourth line. Like, essentially, he's kind of there, to make sure that Lucas Raymond, people aren't trying to body him or anything like that, which is smart. Like, you don't have to worry about Mo Seider. Mo Seider's a monster.
He's D-Mac without the offensive prowess.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, that's what he is. He's our enforcer.
Our boy D-Mac actually said he wants to give him a lesson, a little bit of fighting. He says his base is too skinny. He wants to widen that base and give him better feet underneath him. So,
dude, Giovanni Smith, call D-Mac. Let's record this because I want to learn too. Like, D-Mac's fighting, it's so crazy when you're watching him break down a fight, just because he'll tell you, he's like, no, his arm's a little bit too low there. Now here, I would twist, and he took it to an art.
Yeah.
It wasn't just getting in there and throwing blows and hoping to win. Like, there's strategery involved, and D-Mac figured it out, and that massive left that he has was woof.
Yeah, watch out.
Don't ask Andy Isaac how that left felt.
Yeah, he took it. Looking at the chat, Clomsaw says, any of this fault of Blashill? I mean... A lot of people were kind of singing the praises a little bit of Blashill to start the season. I know I was. I mean, the first line was performing. You're kind of flirting with a playoff spot. You're talking about it, at least at this point during the season. They got off to a hot start. I mean, at the end of the day, talent's talent. You can kind of work with what you got, and we've seen that. Like, Lucas Raymond was able, a guy that were we expecting maybe a little bit like Zadina to come in and do what Raymond has done? Yeah, that's what happens when you take a guy that high in the draft. So a little bit has to go with talent. I mean, the biggest thing I like about Blashill that he's done this year is he's kind of kept that top line together. He hasn't jumbled the lines of, moving Raymond off there to try to get the second line going. He's kept that line together because they've been producing. But like Detroit Dabber says, yeah, the dump and chase thing, it's that those days are done and over with. But I do want to give some shout-outs to actually the Winnipeg Jets. So if you weren't really following this game too closely, all 3 stars for the Jets last night are from Michigan.
Hey, all right, I'll take that.
So think about that. So first star, Andrew Kopp, who had 2 goals last night.
Nice.
He's from Ann Arbor.
Okay.
Played with Dylan Larkin at Michigan. Connor Hellebuck from Commerce, Michigan.
Hey.
Walled Lake Northern, he played at.
All right.
33 saves. And then,
shout out to Commerce Little League. Yeah. That's what I played for growing up.
And then Kyle Connor is the 3rd star from Shelby Township. So Michigan was well represented last night, which is even though
they beat our ass.
Yeah, even though we got our ass kicked, I guess there's some solace in being the guys
we got our ass beat by someone from Michigan.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, I guess that's, if you're rooting for Michigan and guys from Michigan, you like to see that, at least for the most part.
Yeah, if I'm going to lose, at least I want somebody that I like killing me.
Yeah, well, it's your own people too.
Yeah,
you hate it when it's your own people, but. The Wings got to figure it out. I mean, one of the cool things that they showed last night was this new wire cam. I don't know if you saw that coming across. So it's like right under the gondola, and our boy Sawyer's throwing it up on screen right now. And it's this new camera angle they're going with at Bally Sports, and it gives it such a unique look. And
it's like a video game.
Yeah, and a lot of people were saying last night it's either you love it or you hate it. I loved it, especially on the power play. I thought it was great on the power play. You get to see where they're kind of at on the ice. You don't just get like, the from the left side. They could pan it, to make it look like you're at the point or shifting it down low. It's a really unique look, and credit to Bally Sports. They didn't do it enough last night to really drive you crazy. So I really like the look that this was brought. It gives you a different dynamic. So big props to them for implementing that. I thought that gave a cool look. So the Wings, hopefully they get it figured out a little bit. But if not, they're going to lead me to drink a ton of Gypsy vodka.
Yeah,
so
they're still the best team in the rebuild right now, right? In their rebuild stage out of all 4 sports teams.
You could argue the Tigers a little bit with that as well, too.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people expect the Tigers maybe even make a wild card spot this year. But, like I said, if the Wings can't figure it out and they go on this bit of a losing streak they're on, I'm going to continue to drink Gypsy vodka. But I'm going to do it responsibly. And you know what the greatest thing about this is? It's by Michigan Guys. Gluten-free vodka. You can mix it in with your Citron, like Stick said. You could take straight shots of it, but just make sure you're doing it responsibly. Have some fun. And it's Friday night. It's Friday night. Head over to your local Meijer. I suggest the one in Royal Oak. Get Gypsy vodka. They have it on the shelves there, and let's celebrate making it another week. It's the weekend. We're getting through winter. That's the best part about this. Stay warm with some Gypsy vodka. Get that booze blanket on, and support the guys from Michigan. Big D Energy will be right back.
Okay, you thirsty little spin goblins. I want you to pedal into the next dimension. Spin it! Spin! Spin! Uh-oh! Carmen's falling behind. Let's give her the hiss of shame. Spin! Spin! Spin till you bleed!
Don't ride the bike of shame. Come to Planet Fitness and find your own lane with tons of equipment, free fitness training, and no hissing. Join today for just $10 a month.
Opinions are like ear holes, and we're putting ours in yours.
Well, that's not winning, Joy.
It's Woodward Sports.
We are back here on Big D Energy. I'm with my boy Stick to my left. I am Nick Leach, filling in for Neil Rule. Stick, what are you laughing over here about?
I love that Sam's like bumping his head to the music while it's coming back. Like he loves that beat. This your beat, Sam? This the one for you?
Oh yeah, this is mine. All mine.
It's like a DJ over there, man. Like.
I want to hear him freestyle. Can you freestyle?
Absolutely not.
Thank you. Great answer.
You never know. Like Spencer in the back that does the TDing for the bets. He can freestyle.
What can't Spencer do?
Yeah, that's
drink a beer slowly. I think is the only thing he can't do.
Yeah.
That dude crushes. Crushes.
One day, Easy and I actually FaceTimed him to see what he was doing. We call him, and he was at the bar by himself, just slugging beers.
Yeah. No, and beers mean nothing to that man. I've watched him just crush like a double deuce in about 2 seconds, and can I get another one? It's like, all right, cool.
Spencer is a man's man.
Oh, dude, he's a house, man. We call him the unit. Yeah. He's an absolute unit.
I think he looks exactly like Chris Stapleton a little bit.
There you go. All right. What's
what
up,
do you got, Sam?
I agree with you about the Chris Stapleton, by the way. But just to clarify, I did not make that beat, but I did grab it because I thought it sounded really nice, and I thought it sounded good on the show.
Good job, man.
Nice.
That's why you're the audio producer and absolutely crushing it. He just passed his 1 month here at Woodward Sports, so
clap it up.
Clap it up for my man Sam.
Joey 2 times in the chat. Spencer got bars? Yeah, he does, Joey. You'll have to ask him about it.
I'm sure Woodward Heavyweights will put out a freestyle eventually.
Yeah, make sure you check that podcast out.
The Nina, the Pinta, the Santa Maria. That's all. My dad's boat.
I got to be careful with what I said since we are on radio. But Stick, before we went to break, we talked a little bit Red Wings, took a little bit break from football. But I kind of want to bring it back. We saw over this past weekend a big talk, was Tom Brady and what he did for Gronk over the weekend and getting some of these player bonuses. And Sawyer's actually going to throw the graphic up for us right now. There was a lot of guys with this week, that extra week in the NFL, made some decent coin.
Yeah, you wonder how that worked out in their contract, too. If they signed it when they were only playing a 16-game season, and then they moved it to, like, what part of the collective bargaining agreement? Because that had to have been addressed. Like, wait, we promised these guys bonuses for 16 games. They're all going to hit it if we give them another one, but there you go. Leonard Floyd cashes in big, securing $1.25 million bonus after getting a sack last Sunday, pushing him over his 10-sack incentive bonus. Second highest earner was Zadarius Smith, netting $1 million in bonuses. And then, of course, you were talking about Gronk got his bonus, Tom Brady. And I love that this whole exchange. Let's go. I need one more catch. And imagine having that power. Like, all right, we're going to get you a catch. And the route that they ran was like they could complete that 100 times a game if they really wanted to. Look at this route. It literally just straight down the line of scrimmage, not even a yard down the field. And it's like, here you go. Here's $1 million. I'm just tossing it to you. What a good friend Tom Brady is.
And he wouldn't even come out of the game. Like he's not even like, what if you take a sack on this play and you get hurt or something?
Right.
Like, no, I'm getting my boy Gronk $1 million.
See,
I'll do that for you, Stick.
I appreciate that, and that goes back to what we were talking about our college kids not playing and not sticking with their teammates. That's why Tom Brady's the ultimate teammate. I don't care if I get hurt. I'm getting my man the bag right now.
Yeah. So I mean, you go up and down the list of some of these guys that made a lot of money. Obviously, Leonard Floyd was a big one with making $1.2 million. Zadarius Smith finishing with 12.5 sacks. He got $1 million bonus. Devontae Parker earned an extra $750,000 for eclipsing 60 catches and for 750 yards. I mean, Tyler Lockett. Look, Tom Brady got a bonus. Emmanuel Sanders. You go down, like, I think a lot of this might have been incentivized before this week 17. Yeah. I don't remember hearing too much about these incentives like in years prior, like we have this year.
Yeah, just the amount that hit them all on the same day, I think, is striking. Obviously there's been players that hit their bonuses all throughout history. Otherwise, there wouldn't be bonuses. But yeah, for all of them to hit it on the last week of the season, like owners just had to be sitting there like, why did we agree to 17 games?
Yeah.
Like, this is costing me so much money. But you know what? If you go out there and you earn it, I'm sure they don't mind paying.
I'm sure the extra revenue from those games that they got, it isn't really hurting them too much.
Right. Yeah, it's just a drop in the bucket.
Yeah, exactly. How about some of these guys that missed their bonuses? You got Giants cornerback James Bradbury needed 2 interceptions Sunday to collect an extra $250,000. Chiefs cornerback Rashad Breeland needed 1 interception for $100,000. Chris Jones needed 2.5 sacks Sunday to collect $1.2 million. Like, it was all on the table.
The 2 interceptions, that's not going to happen. But can you imagine how hard you would be trying if you just needed 1 more interception? Like, you'd give up 3 touchdowns overplaying every ball thrown at you just trying to get that pick.
Yeah, how about this one? Vikings left tackle, former Lion, Riley Reif, was in line for a possible $1 million if he played 93.75% of the snaps. He finished with 92.6% of the snaps.
Oof, that's brutal. And that's part of why Antonio Brown freaked the hell out, remember?
Yeah.
He was like 5 catches short, like 80 yards short of getting all these bonuses, and they weren't playing him. So that was part of the reason that he freaked out. But then he said it was because that they were holding him or trying to force him to play is why he freaked out. So some mixed signals, and it's Antonio Brown, so there's going to be mixed signals.
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough scene. You hate to see it, and you brought up a guy like Antonio Brown. He was a guy that, went on the record this past week and said, he kind of regrets what he did a little bit. He goes, it probably wasn't necessary or professional. So he's got the graphic up on there. After, tossing his pads. And a lot of people said, I actually was going back and forth with, I believe it was Easy on this. And he said, when have you done the same thing? Or actually, it was at my boys last week. I was out with my boys, and they said, when have you done the same thing? Like, if your job, like, I'm sitting on this desk right now. If you told me, hey, you're fired, get out of here, would you storm off? I go, it's a little bit of a different setting,
And they didn't fire him at the game. I mean, they had an exchange. Like I said, it was either A, about forcing him to play on his bad ankle, or B, about not getting him his bonus money. And either way, he was still a part of the team at that point. And, you can't let the way other people treat you control how you act, period. And if you're the type of guy, like, he's already regretting it, because in that moment, what did he do? He threw away his entire NFL career. No team is going to risk it. I mean, the Raiders already tried with the guy. You were playing with arguably the most stable quarterback of all time in Tom Brady, the most understanding, took made him a huge weapon again. He had market value where he could have gotten signed by somewhere else, but now who's going to touch him? Right. And I think that's what he's regretting most is what I did was bad. If I just would have walked off the field, probably could still be in the league. Now he'll never be in the league again.
Yeah, I'm with you. Can't imagine a team would take a risk on him being like that too. And
why would you want that in your locker room?
No, especially when you do it for a team that has a good chance to get back to the Super Bowl.
Right,
like that team has a very good chance to make it back to the Super Bowl, and you just you chucked it. Like, yeah, I get Arians said you're done, like on the sideline, but maybe once heads kind of cooled off and stuff, you have the discussion in the locker room. Like, okay, let's talk this out. Let's work it out. And I get they had the exchange in the locker room. He was complaining about the targets in the locker room before all this happened too, which a lot of people don't know about. But to me, like I said, I don't see how you. And my guess is some people are in his ear saying, dude, you messed up a pretty good thing by acting the way you did running off the field like that.
Listen, we're used to diva wide receivers in the NFL. Odell Beckham, everywhere he's gone, he's caused some problems, right? When he was with the Giants, going on the boat with his boys before the playoff game, when he's in Cleveland, causing chaos, him and Baker Mayfield had friction. But you know what? He keeps getting jobs because he's still acting professional on the field.
Yeah.
And you can deal with a diva wide receiver. Look at like a Juju Smith-Schuster. Dude, not Juju. Yeah, Juju Smith-Schuster.
Yeah, dancing
and cause it, tweeting out videos from the locker room, just doing dumb things, but you tolerate it because he has that skill set. But the skill set will only take you so far and only get you so much understanding. Antonio Brown has maxed out knucklehead and skill set to where they just wash now and he's nothing.
Well, and for me too, I look at it as like a lot of people like, oh, Antonio Brown was a great receiver, but what are you going to remember Antonio Brown more for now?
Not receiving.
No, you're going to remember him chucking his stuff and running off the field, him burning his foot off almost in the
cryo stuff. Yeah,
I mean, it's more of the off of the field stuff that you remember, like the glimmer of greatness that he had in Pittsburgh was awesome. Like one of my favorite touchdowns, a punt return that he had, that he went and then jumped on the goalpost and slid down. Like, that is still one of my favorite touchdown celebrations. He knew he was going to get flagged, but in the moment, even like you could tell, like Tomlin didn't care. It was a moment to be celebrated. So for me, it was just like all of that's overshadowed now what he's done the last couple of years, unfortunately.
Yeah, and that's a cautionary tale, man. Be careful what you do because your reputation can ruin all the skills that you actually have. So feel bad for the guy. He obviously needs somebody to talk to, a friend, somebody to guide him through this type of stuff. But at the end of the day, you're a grown-ass man. You got to act like a grown-ass man. And if you're going to be out there throwing your stuff into the stands, you're not going to be a part of any NFL team. No coach will tolerate that.
Agreed. And why would you? There's absolutely no reason to, especially in that environment. So we got to hit one more break. We're going to come back. We got to touch on the Pistons real quick. And then we got Sawyer's Motorsport Minute. So we're definitely looking forward to that.
Motorboat Minute? Hell yeah.
If you're following along on YouTube, make sure you hit that like button. If you're listening on Twitter, Twitch, thank you, everywhere. You could be even following us along right on the radio, too. If you're in your car at 99.1 FM or 93.5.
Yep, and the 94.7 HD if you got that HD radio.
We're everywhere, baby.
Of course, if you just want the audio version of this, search Spotify, Apple, anywhere you guys get your podcast from. We're on it, baby.
So, Big D Energy. We'll be right back.
Big D!
Life is full of hard choices. We're here to make one of life's biggest decisions as simple as possible. My name is Christina Gennari, and for over 20 years, I've helped hundreds of families buy and sell homes. We cover all of Metro Detroit and more, from large luxury homes to starter homes. We will work hard to make sure that you get the home of your dreams. So if you're in the market today or even thinking about buying or selling in the future, make the obvious choice. Christina Gennari, the obvious choice in real estate. Visit us at soldchristina.com today.
Monday through Friday for Big D Energy Live on the Woodward Sports Network with Stanley Cup champ Darren McCarty, former Lion Joik Bell, and the silky voice of Neil Rule.
We are back here on Big D Energy with the Woodward Sports Network. I am Nick Leach filling in for Neil Rule. To my left, I've got Stick. Yep, filling in for four-time Stanley Cup champion Darren McCarty.
Never thought I'd hear that in my life, but here we are.
Yeah, how about that?
So wild.
Yeah, it's crazy to think. I've sat in that chair a few times, filled in for him, filled in for Braylon Edwards. All great guys, too. I've talked about them enough on these shows. Like, you can't say enough good things about those guys. Like, they'd give you the shirt off their back if they had to.
Literally, D-Mac is probably one of the nicest humans Pistons you'll ever meet. And you run into that a lot. Usually the biggest badass you meet is one of the nicest guys you meet because he can be, because nobody's going to cross him.
Yeah, and it's a good guy you want on your team. So.
Oh, dude. What he displayed, what was it, last week? Just D-Mac's an ultimate teammate.
Yeah.
An ultimate teammate. And you get the same thing with everybody that works here at the Woodward Sports Network. Ryan and Braylon and Maz and everybody here, the young guys, we all have each other's backs. And it's really great to see this thing gelling and growing.
Yeah, absolutely. So before we went to break, we were talking, football around the NFL. We were talking Antonio Brown and all that diva stuff. I want to touch a little bit on the basketball and the Pistons taking on the Toronto Raptors tonight. Obviously, the big thing with the Raptors, you just saw the whole thing between Devin Booker and that ordeal with, the mascot jumping up and down in the background.
I love mascots.
Yeah,
I do.
I could see you sporting. I was a mascot once in high school.
Really?
Yeah.
I have a funny story about our mascot in high school. So he was an all-state wrestler, but he's wearing the mascot uniform, and we're away. I think we were playing Warren Woods Tower, and we're away, and somebody starts messing with our mascot, and we all know that this kid's a badass, right? He's an all-state wrestler. He just takes down this kid in a mascot. He was in the mascot uniform, our eaglet, and he just takes down the kid. It was awesome to watch our mascot win a wrestling match.
That's awesome. They knew I walk a certain way. Apparently, I have a weird way that I walk. So everyone at the school knew it was me because of my one leg's longer than the other. So people notice a little pimp walk, I guess you could say I have. So, so the mascot didn't quite work out for me. But circling back to the Pistons, they've won their last 2 out of 3 games. Obviously, got smoked by the Bulls the other night in an ugly game. But hopefully you get a little bit of a bounce back tonight. They've been playing decent ever since, Cade and the boys come back. Sadiq's really taken over. Same thing with Hamidou Diallo. So I look for hopefully this to be hopefully a better game. You just don't know what you're going to get with this Pistons team this year.
Yeah, this year's been very frustrating as a Pistons fan. Last year, I thought we fought harder. I thought it was a growing year for us. This year, we're just going through a lot of growing pains.
Yeah.
And it's been tough to watch on occasion because we're not in many close games. We're either winning or we're getting crushed. There's no competitive nature to a lot of these games. But that being said, in 2022, they're 500. So it's a new year, new Pistons. Let's go. Cade is finally starting to get all the accolades that he deserves, starting to be talked about as Rookie of the Year. He's showing just the type of leadership that he has. It's always interesting when we play the Raptors, though, because Troy Weaver and Dwayne Casey specifically have obviously a deep connection and how they built the Raptors, and we're trying to emulate that here in Detroit with the G League team being right down the street. That's a huge initiative for the Pistons because a Fred VanVleet came out of that for the Raptors, and they turned him into a good player. And if we can get one of those diamonds in the rough too here, it'll be nice, but we need to get the young guys all playing on the same page, and hopefully it starts tonight again.
Yeah, so you hopefully they get their 10th win of the season. It sucks being this late in the season and still being in single digits for wins. But like you said, they have been competing. The line right now is Toronto minus 10 points. Don't know if it's hard. Like I said, you don't know what you're going to get. They just got smoked by the Bulls the other night. So I'm definitely going to stay away from this game, especially the over-under, though, that looks a bit advantageous. 212, I'd like the under in that, maybe, possibly.
Yeah. I'd be comfortable betting the under. And, Dwayne Casey is predicated on defense. That's what his whole system is about, and that's why you're seeing Killian Hayes still getting the run that he is, even though he's struggling on the offensive end because he's such a good defender. The Bol trade fell through, which sucks. I was really looking forward to seeing Bol play for the Pistons. His health didn't clear NBA protocols, so the trade got pushed back yesterday. So we get Rodney Magruder back. Okay, but really, I was excited to see Bol.
Yeah, I didn't really care. I looked at Bol's numbers; they weren't.
No, but dude, just imagine that long freak in a Pistons uniform. It was just awesome to see. Dude could shoot threes with that long release. I was excited. Somebody tweeted out yesterday, can we call it a bowl of beef stew if those two are on the court? I loved it.
Yeah, we shared that from a Reddit page. Actually, just the Woodward Sports
Great
page.
comment.
So, I enjoyed it, and unfortunately, it fell through, but I'm here for guys that are going to make a difference. So to me, I didn't think Bol was really going to change that much. So
but hopefully the Pistons get the W tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to shift it over to my boy Sawyer.
Shift. What is the key word?
A lot of people don't know is Sawyer and I are actually kind of big racing fans. So I grew up a diehard NASCAR fan, along with being a big Detroit sports fan. And that's something we've shared a passion for. We were talking about it this morning, and I love that he has this Motorsport Minute here on Big D Energy. So Sawyer, what do you got for us today?
Oh, man, we got a packed little minute for you guys today. I can't find my timer, and not going to lie, Neil, I'm sorry. We might go over a minute today. We never know. But as we know, or I know people who follow NASCAR have seen, we've had the Daytona tests going on. So you can hear the cars humming in the background. The new next-gen car is beautiful. I mean, just listen to that roar going through the corners right now, through the steep banking. I mean, it's beautiful. I'm so excited for this car this year. I mean, in the preseason tests at the Roval, right when the season finished, the car was already 2 seconds faster than the previous Roval time. So, I mean, they're juicing these things up for the next gen. They're switching up the pit stops. It's a one lug nut tire setup now, so pit stops are going to be way faster. Cars are going to be in the pits less, on the track more, racing a lot more. Another thing that got me excited, I know Robert Colosi is going to love this too. IndyCar legend, Indy 500 champion, and Formula One world champion Jacques Villeneuve is running in the 500 this year. He's going to have to qualify to get in, but I mean, it's just amazing to see like a motorsport legend like this trying to tackle another American sport. Like, he's already done IndyCar. He's been in Canada doing some like Canadian NASCAR, the Wheeling Series. So now he's moving into the big major series, and I'm so excited for that. Now we got to transfer overseas now to Europe into Formula One. The FIA has come out with a statement that they are officially looking in to the last lap drama at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix to end the season. They're going to look specifically into safety cars and how they're going to be used in the future. So, I mean, this is pretty interesting. And then the FIA president came out and talked about Hamilton on his potential either return or retirement from Formula One, saying, I mean, he doesn't really have to come out and say anything right now. He's going through a lot. It was a pretty tough end of the season. So, yeah, I mean, pretty interesting stuff. And then one last thing to end her off is the IndyCar 2022 season schedule is out. We're starting at St. Pete. Big race, May 29th, Memorial Day weekend, 106th running of the Indianapolis 500. I'll be there. Hope to see you guys there. Second half of the season, pretty much the same as last year. Going back to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway to hit the road course. That's an amazing one. Formula One used to race there for a while, so you can't miss that race. And then we're ending up at the Firestone Grand Prix of Monterey. So, I mean, it's going to be fantastic. I'm excited for all three of these seasons. The new NASCAR season is going to be outstanding. So you guys got to check in. It's going to be great.
Yeah, so real quick before we kind of send this thing out of here is, at my previous job, I actually built a relationship with the CEO of Roush there, Sawyer, and I talked to him about these next-gen cars and what they bring to NASCAR, and he said, honestly, it makes it cheaper, more affordable for teams all across the sport. It's been heavily dominated by like 1, 2, or 3 teams over the last couple of years. So hopefully this, makes it more competitive across that sport and that series. So I'm looking forward to it. It's an exciting time in NASCAR, especially if you like any type of racing. It's definitely going to be a sight to watch. But Stick, I've had a blast today, man. This has been a great Friday.
Let's talk sports again.
Yeah, definitely a great way to send off the week. We appreciate all of you for tuning in on the radio, in YouTube, on Twitter. This is Big D Energy. For Nick and Stick, we'll see you next time.
Hey, Spence, you hear what's going on in Studio B? No. Nick Leach is doing a podcast about kale and vegetables.
What? Not on my watch. Easy, man. Nick Leach is making a mockery of Studio B. What's he doing? He's doing a podcast about vegetables. What? Now I'm going there for about 25, 35 minutes. I'm gonna break my teeth in this game apart. There we go. Let's go. Let's go. What the hell is this? You're making a mockery of Studio B. What are you doing, bro?
What's that, Alec?
Take your get out. Woodward Heavyweights, coming this Friday, brother. Where we talking about sports, fighting, and sports. Detroit sports. Yeah, this Friday we're gonna have Episode 1, brother. Let's get it.